Chapter 3903. It's no use talking to me. This is our family's decision. When you ran out and lived in his house, Dad almost had a heart attack. Yunchu was almost beaten because of you. We've done enough for you. We've interfered in your affairs because we love you. I know. But I'm an adult. So. You asked me to come here to persuade your family. Wei Ying nodded with tears in her eyes. I still hope that Hui Yanyan is dead and this will be the end of it. You should talk to Dad and your second brother. I really can't make the decision. Jiang Xiaowei was a bit angry at Wei Ying's muddle-headedness. So, she got up and left after a few words. After Jiang Xiaowei left, Wei Ying packed up and drove to Shen Mingxi's house. Sure enough, Shen Mingxi wasn't at the company and was still at home. He wasn't in a good state. He had drunk some wine and smelled like it. Miss Wei. The housekeeper saw Wei Ying and immediately greeted her. Is he home? Mr. Shen is upstairs. Okay. When Wei Ying entered the study, Shen Mingxi was reading a pile of documents on his desk. Big brother Mingxi. Shen Mingxi looked up. You're here. I called your secretary and she said you didn't go to the company, Wei Ying said as she walked in and put her Chanel bag on the desk. She glanced at the files and saw they were files on some foreign schools. She felt sad. Big brother Mingxi, that thing. Let's not talk about that. Shen Mingxi felt that he hadn't adjusted his mentality yet, so he interrupted Wei Ying when she was about to talk about Hui Yanyan. My second brother called you. Oh, he did. Shen Mingxi lowered his head and tried to look calm. Big brother Mingxi, I'm sorry. Maybe my family pushed you too hard. No. I understand their concerns. I told my sister-in-law that I won't push you anymore. I want to be with you, no matter how much I suffer or what happens in the future. I don't care. Wei Ying put her hand on Shen Mingxi's shoulder. Shen Mingxi raised his hand and held Wei Ying's. Don't worry, leave it to me. Little Ying, I'll take care of it. Big brother Mingxi, are you going to? Wei Ying was alarmed. She even wondered if Shen Mingxi would do something to Tian Tian. While the two of them were talking, Tian Tian walked to the door again. Auntie Wei Ying, I bought it for you when I went to the supermarket yesterday. I thought it would look good on you. Tian Tian walked over and handed a hairband to Wei Ying. Wei Ying took the hairband uncomfortably. You'll definitely look beautiful wearing it. My classmates' mothers all have them. She smiled sweetly. Tian Tian, you go out first. I need to talk to Auntie Wei Ying. Shen Mingxi seemed to want to send the child away. I also have something to tell you. Tian Tian looked at Wei Ying and then at Shen Mingxi. Wei Ying was slightly surprised. She looked at the child, not knowing what to do. Then you go first. Shen Mingxi looked at the child gently. After Hui Yanyan's death, he had treated her better than before. Shen Mingxi was even nicer to Tian Tian than before. Perhaps it was because he pitied her because she had lost her mother. Uncle Shen, Auntie Wei Ying, I want to study in another city. I want to leave this place and leave you for a while. Chapter 3904. Tian Tian. Shen Mingxi felt bad. Uncle Shen, I've secretly looked at the information on your desk. You've been choosing schools for me, both at home and abroad. They're all super expensive and have good environments. I know you want to send me to continue my studies. Tian Tian can't continue to stay by Uncle Shen's side. Shen Mingxi was speechless because Tian Tian was right. After dealing with Hui Yanyan, he was indeed thinking about Tian Tian. If it were before, he would have insisted on keeping the child with him. After all, raising a child wasn't a big deal to him. But now, Wei Ying had confessed that she wanted to remarry him. The Wei family's only request was to deal with the child left by Hui Yanyan. Shen Mingxi admitted that he was selfish and couldn't let go of Wei Ying. After Hui Yanyan's death, he didn't have a good attitude toward Tian Tian. So, he had been thinking about where to send her. He had considered overseas, such as the United States, England, Canada, and Japan. But after the experience in Singapore, Shen Mingxi was worried that the child wouldn't be used to living abroad. So, he hadn't thought about it. But today, Tian Tian took the initiative to talk about it. Auntie Wei Ying. I really understand, but can I ask for one thing? Don't send me abroad. I'm not used to a foreign language and environment. The skin color is different in Europe, and I can't be friends with the kids there. I want to stay in China and go to Jing City. I've read some information about schools, and I like Jing City Normal University affiliated elementary school very much. It's a closed management system, and you can take extra classes during the winter and summer vacations, and you'll be taken care of. Although the tuition is a bit expensive, it's not cheap to go abroad. Jing City isn't far from home, and it's our capital. I want to go there, live a good life, study hard, and repay Uncle Shen's kindness to me when I grow up. The child said so much in one breath. Obviously, she wasn't improvising. She had a purpose, or she had been preparing for this for a long time. Hearing Tiantian's request, not to mention Shen Mingxi, even Wei Ying felt bad. She felt that she had forced the child away. Although her mother was a jerk, she couldn't blame the child for the rest of her life. Wei Ying's heart ached when she heard that. Big brother Mingxi, why don't we let Tian Tian go? It's good for her to live with us. She has a nanny to take care of her and it's convenient for her to go to school. It won't affect anything. I'll go back and talk to my family. My dad and my second brother aren't heartless people. We'll find a way. Wei Ying was soft-hearted. Facing a child that she thought was innocent, she didn't want to be ruthless. To her surprise, Tian Tian immediately said, Auntie Wei Ying, don't feel bad. I know. If I don't leave, your family won't let you remarry Uncle Shen. I don't want to be an obstacle between you two. I'm just going to study abroad. It's not like I'm never coming back, right? Also, you guys are paying for my tuition and living expenses. Tian Tian is already very good, but I don't know if my mother will come and make trouble for you after I leave. Tian Tian mentioned her mother again. Wei Ying and Shen Mingxi didn't feel good about it. They had always thought that the child did not know that Hui Yanyan was already dead. Chapter 3905. Tian Tian, if you're willing to stay, I'll find another way. It's okay. Uncle Shen, you're already very good to me. If it were any other man, he would have dumped me on the street. Let's just make a quick decision, okay? Uncle Shen, please help me with the paperwork. I'll leave as soon as possible, and let Auntie Wei Ying come home as soon as possible. Uncle can't live without a wife. Tiantian's words moved Wei Ying and Shen Mingxi to tears. They didn't expect the kid to leave on her own. Going to a boarding school in another city was a good choice. It also met the Wei family's requirements. Shen Mingxi finally nodded. Okay. I'll do it tomorrow. Shen Mingxi didn't notice the mocking smile on Tiantian's face. Oh, by the way, Uncle Shen, should I see my mom before I leave and tell her? I'm afraid she'll pester you and Auntie Wei Ying. The kid stared at the two adults with her innocent eyes. This made the two of them look very guilty. It's okay. I'll take care of it, Shen Mingxi said vaguely. Okay. You guys talk. I'll go back to my room. I haven't been to school recently and have missed a lot of homework. I wonder if the curriculum in China is the same as in Singapore. Tian said as she walked out of the study. Big brother Mingxi, she doesn't know about her mom, right? Yeah. When are you going to tell her? Wei Ying was worried. I'll find a suitable time. I'm afraid she won't be able to bear it if I tell her now. After all, she's her last family member. I'll take care of the school. After she goes to Jing City and gets used to life there, I'll tell her slowly. Okay. Ing, after what happened to us, we might not be able to hold a grand wedding with you. What are you talking about? We don't have to hold a grand wedding. I think we can go to the Civil Affairs Bureau and get our marriage certificate. Wei Ying was considerate of Shen Mingxi and respected his ideas. Okay. Tell me what you want. After we get married, I'll transfer half of my personal assets to you. You really don't have to do this, big brother Mingxi. Wei Ying was flattered. Shen Mingxi stood up and held Wei Ying in his arms. He gently stroked the hair in front of her forehead. Yes, it's not easy for us to be together after so many twists and turns. Whatever you want, as long as I have it, I'm willing to give it to you. I heard that Qin Chu has nothing under his name, and all of GK's assets are under Huomin's name. President Qin is famous for spoiling his wife. Everyone knows that. Wei Ying smiled. She rested her head on Shen Mingxi's shoulder and enjoyed the tranquility of this moment. Emichim, I will treat you better and better in the future. I won't let you regret choosing to be with me again. Shen Mingxi kissed Wei Ying's forehead lovingly, and Tiantian's incident came to an end. Although the Wei family was unwilling, there was nothing they could do if their daughter was willing. Shen Mingxi and Wei Ying remarried on the 5th day after Tian left for school. He didn't invite anyone, nor did he hold a banquet. However, the two of them went to the Civil Affairs Bureau in a low-key manner to get a new marriage certificate. After returning, the two of them went to the supermarket to buy vegetables and went home to eat hot pot. It could be said that they were quite low-key. Late at night Suyu had a nightmare. In the nightmare, Huomin was covered in blood. Mian, hang in there, Suyu, go, don't worry about me. Huomin seemed to have used up all of his strength. Mian. Suyu yelled and woke up from the dream with a throbbing pain in his head. For some reason, he seemed to have been having frequent nightmares recently. Looking at his phone, he saw that it was 2 a.m. and it was pitch dark outside. Damn it, it's been so weird lately. I feel like something is going to happen, Suyu murmured to himself in a half-awake state. Chapter 3906. After Suyu woke up, he could no longer fall asleep. He was a good sleeper, but this was the 3rd time he had nightmares recently. And it was all about Huomin. If it was during the day, Suyu would have called Huomin immediately. However, it was midnight, and he couldn't ask him. Suyu got up and went downstairs. He walked to the fridge and took out a can of iced Coke. Then, he turned on the TV and drank it on the sofa. And didn't sleep well either. When he heard that his boss was awake, he immediately came out of the room on the 1st floor. What did he think? President Su, are you okay? I'm fine. I just had a nightmare. Huh? You dreamed of a ghost. Anne's words almost made Suyu spit out the Coke in his mouth. You look like a ghost to me. Suyu was speechless. Then what did you dream of? Tell me. My grandma used to tell me that if you have a good dream, you can't say it because something good is going to happen. If you say it, it won't happen. However, if you have a nightmare, you must say it, and then the bad luck will be broken. Really? Suyu looked at him suspiciously. Although the traditions of the older generation are a little superstitious, many people still worship them. Do you believe me? If you do, tell me. Under Anne's persuasion, Siyuth carefully recalled the nightmares he had in the past. It seemed that the scenes were similar every time and were a little blurry. It's like that. Mion and I were in a big forest, being chased by someone. That's what it meant. Then, we were both injured. Mion was covered in blood and lying on the ground. She told me to leave first, and then, at this point, Siyu couldn't continue. Although it was a dream, it was too real. Therefore, he didn't want to say anything bad about Huamin. However, Anne could basically guess. Otherwise, Siyu wouldn't have been so frightened. So, in your dream, you and President Huo went to play PUBG. PUBG. Suyu was stunned. It's a very popular sniper game recently. Suyu, forget it, President Su. Don't let your imagination run wild. This scenario definitely won't work. I think it's because too many things have happened recently and you're under too much pressure. Or maybe you put your hand on your chest when you were sleeping and had this dream. Think about it, President Hua is about to give birth. She's not even working anymore. She's just waiting for delivery at home. Why would she go to the forest? Besides, who would dare to chase after you and President Hua? Yeah, I don't think it can happen either. It's just that the dream was too realistic. After I woke up, I didn't feel too good either. Suyu picked up the cola again and took a big gulp. So, a dream is just a dream. Don't take it seriously. It's late. Go and get some rest. Tomorrow is the second round of the dance. That's right, I wonder how that wretched girl's preparations are going. If Anne hadn't mentioned it, Siyu would have forgotten about it. In addition to working in the company during the day and persuading Wei Liao at night, Siyu had been helping Su Xiaoxiao with the paperwork to join the army in the northwest. He was so busy that he forgot about the second round of the dance. They were both in the company, but they hadn't seen each other. Meanwhile, overseas, Jack knelt on the ground as the masked woman threw a pink pill to the ground. She ordered in a contemptuous tone, "Swallow it. Young madam, don't worry. It won't kill you. It's not poison. I just want to see Hua Xiqian," the masked woman said with a smile. Chapter 3907. Hee, young master, it's not like that. Didn't you say? I'll be Jack forever. Jack didn't want Hua Xiqian to come out. If he did, he would be imprisoned in the depths of his soul again. So, do you want to die, or do you want to hide for a while? The masked girl's tone was gentle even when she threatened him. But this gentleness was obviously accompanied by a strong smell of blood. Young master. Hee, let's talk about it. Crack, the masked girl ran out of patience. She took out a black pistol and pointed it at Jack's head. Don't make me repeat myself. I said, swallow it. Okay, don't be impulsive. I'll take it. Jack was still very cowardly in the face of death. He was different from Hua Xiqian because Hua Xiqian wasn't afraid of death. But he was afraid of death. Or rather, he didn't want to die at all. Not daring to continue disobeying, Jack took out the pink pill and swallowed it in one gulp in front of the masked girl. Then his consciousness blurred and he slowly fell to the ground. He had been here for a long time, but he hadn't found anything. He had no idea who these people were, nor did he know where they were. Xing Ro was still imprisoned in the dungeon and was on the verge of a mental breakdown. But no order had been given to kill or release her. So Jack had been on standby all this time. 5 minutes later. The man lying on the ground slowly opened his eyes. The look in his eyes was obviously different from Jack's. If he was in front of others, Jack might play some tricks. For example, he would hide the pill under his tongue and pretend to be Hua Xiqian. But he didn't dare to do that in front of the masked girl. This woman was so scary that she seemed to be able to see through everything. If his little trick was exposed, even the king of hell wouldn't be able to save him. So this time, it was really Hua Xiqian who woke up. Long time no see, Mr. Hua. The masked girl's Chinese pronunciation was very accurate. It even made people suspect that she was a native Chinese. It's you. Hua Xiqian vaguely remembered seeing this woman once. However, he had really slept for too long, so his reaction was not that fast. Your brother Jack has occupied your body for a long time, and you. How was your sleep? Did you sleep enough? Cut the crap. What do you want? Hua Xiqian hated women. He hated all women except for Hua Min. Therefore, when facing these women, his temper was very bad. He was not a gentleman at all. Mr. Hua, you shouldn't treat Hua Min like this. I want you to treat me as gently as your little sister. Hee, you think you're worthy? Hua Xiqian sneered. But before he could finish laughing, he was kicked in the stomach by the woman. Then, he was sent flying a few meters away. In the end, he slammed into the cold European-style wall. He fell to the ground and vomited blood. Pain came from his chest. Compared to Jack, you are indeed very rude. The girl sat on the sofa and crossed her legs, looking very imposing. Hua Xiqian didn't say anything. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and slowly got up. You're so boring. You can always easily provoke my anger. How about this? I'll let you watch a short video. Consider it as a way to satisfy your cravings. The masked girl picked up the tiny remote in her hand and gently pressed it. A familiar scene appeared on the 100-inch super-large TV. Hua Min was wearing a cute beige dress, but it was actually maternity clothes. She had a wine-red cashmere shawl draped over her shoulders. She was strolling in a baby supermarket with a stroller. Seeing Hua Min's figure, Hua Xiqian's eyes instantly became as gentle as water. Mian. His voice was very hoarse. Chapter 3908. You're indeed infatuated. You're already like this just by looking at her. The masked woman's eyes were full of sarcasm as she smiled. However, Hua Xiqian didn't care about what she said. Instead, he stared at the TV without blinking. He stared at Hua Min. He hadn't seen her in a long time. It seemed like she was about to give birth. Her belly was so big, and it seemed like she was choosing clothes for the baby. Do you miss your little sister Mian? The masked woman approached Hua Xiqian step by step and reached out to put her hand on his shoulder. However, he didn't react at all. All his attention was on Hua Min. Do you want to see her, huh? You're not allowed to touch her, or I'll kill you. Hua Xiqian suddenly turned around and threw a punch at the woman. The masked woman reacted quickly and dodged it. Then, she punched Hua Xiqian in the stomach. Feeling the pain, he bent over, his eyebrows furrowed. Nothing's happened yet, and you're already so nervous. If you see Hua Min being abused with your own eyes, won't your expression be very interesting? Upon hearing the woman's words, Hua Xiqian ignored the pain and rushed up again. However, the woman pressed him down with her leg. This woman's explosive strength was so strong that even the agile Hua Xiqian was no match for her. In fact, Hua Xiqian was already very skilled. He once fought with Suyu one-on-one and didn't lose badly. After all, Suyu was a special forces soldier. Therefore, it could only be said that the masked woman in front of him was too strong. Her physical fitness was so abnormal that it was inhuman. Why are you so agitated? I'm fine, right? Don't touch Mian. Hua Xiqian could only think of this sentence over and over in his mind. But your little sister Mian wants to kill you. You must know that if my men hadn't saved you in time, you wouldn't have been able to escape from Sea City. You would have been killed by Lu Yen. It was me, who gave you a chance to start over. So what? No matter who it is, they can't hurt her. Looks like you're really crazy. Compared to you, Jack is more obedient. Hua Xiqian's back was pressed down by the masked woman's leg, making him feel as if there was a jack on his body. He couldn't get up. How about this? Forget about your little sister Mian from now on and be with me. I just happen to need a boy toy. Go to hell. You have quite a backbone. How about this? Since I'm in a good mood today, I'll give you some benefits. I'll let you see what I look like, okay? That's something your brother Jack isn't qualified to see. Not interested, Hua Xiqian replied coldly. You haven't tried it yet, how do you know you're not interested? The masked woman seemed to be interested. Teasing Hua Xiqian was much more fun than teasing Jack. Perhaps it was because he didn't give in that the woman wanted to conquer him. Then, the woman turned off the TV, and Hua Min's figure disappeared without a trace. Hua Xiqian was furious. He stood up and was about to fight the woman to the death. Suddenly, he saw her face without the mask. You, Qian, take a look, take a good look. Do I look good? The masked woman smiled as she took off her mask and said to Hua Xiqian. His first reaction was that his mind went blank. He felt as if he had been struck by lightning. He was shocked. Extremely shocked. Impossible, this is absolutely impossible, Hua Xiqian muttered to himself. Chapter 3909. On the day when the second round of Han Yueyao's dance allure began, a large group of people waited in front of the TV to watch the live broadcast. Even Han Yueyao's parents were invited from the distant Jing city to watch the live broadcast. They seemed to be promoting the show. In the dressing room, her partner hadn't arrived yet. Yao, your partner isn't here yet. Do you have his WeChat? Ask him what's going on. Her agent was anxious, afraid that the guy would delay Han Yueyao. After all, the two of them were a team. He won't be late. This show is so influential that it won't do him any good if he's late, okay? Then you can do your makeup first. While she was doing her makeup, Han Yueyao got up and went to the washroom. She ran into Ding Lan, a female star of dance allure. Ding Lan was a rising star of Fangda Company and had been a hot star in the past 2 years. She had starred in a few idol dramas and appeared on some second-tier reality shows, so she had accumulated a lot of fans. She looked especially pure and innocent, like an obedient girl. Han Yueyao had a good impression of her because she had watched her show. So, she greeted her. You're here. However, Ding Lan didn't care about money at all and acted as if she didn't hear her, which made Han Yueyao feel awkward. However, something even more embarrassing happened. When Ding Lan walked out of the washroom, she didn't know if she did it on purpose or not. She fell in Han Yueyao's direction. Ding Lan's whole body fell heavily on Han Yueyao. Caught off guard, Han Yueyao was pushed to the ground. In the end, she was used as a thick human cushion. Ding Lan was lying on top of her and was fine. But Han Yueyao's foot was fiercely twisted. Immediately, she felt a tingling pain. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Are you okay? Ding Lan immediately got up and reached out to pull Han Yueyao up. Enduring the pain, Han Yueyao got up without speaking and looked down to check her injury. Instantly, her left ankle turned red and swollen. She was so unlucky. After all, she was going to be on the show. Ouch. Your ankle is red. I'll call 120 to take you to the hospital. No. It's nothing. Han Yueyao wasn't stupid. If she called 120 and left, then, she would forfeit this round. Also, his partner, Yuan Bo, would be involved. Yuan Bo's fans would curse him to death, wouldn't they? But you're injured. A foot injury is not a small matter. If it's not treated in time, it'll be serious. I've encountered such things before when I was filming. Don't worry, I'll pay for your medical expenses. You'd better go and have a look. Ding Lon tried to persuade him hypocritically. She couldn't take it anymore. You want me to withdraw so badly? I'm just a newbie. There's really no need for you to do this, right? What are you talking about? I don't understand. I didn't do it on purpose. I apologize. I admit my mistake. I also said that I'll pay for your treatment. Ding Lon looked like a wrong daughter-in-law. If she hadn't been smart enough to see through her trick, she would have been fooled by her pitiful look. I don't want to go to the hospital. I will continue participating in the competition. Then she stood up, pushed Ding Lon aside, and limped out of the washroom. Behind her, Ding Lon looked at her and smiled slightly. Of course, she won't be eliminated, but she'll have one less opponent if she's eliminated. Han Yueyao isn't scary, but Yuan Bo with tens of millions of fans is. She can't do anything to Yuan Bo, so she came up with this plan. Han Yueyao, Yuan Bo, get ready. You're next, the director ordered. Ouch. My goodness. Why are you so late? My goodness. What happened to your ankle? Her agent was scared to death when she saw her ankle. Chapter 39:10. Enduring the pain, Han Yueyao replied, I got hurt by accident. My goodness. Why did you get hurt at this moment? Can you still dance? Yes. Han Yueyao sounded very determined. No, no. If you insist on dancing, you'll be seriously disabled. How about this? I'll tell the program crew that we'll ask for leave and go to the hospital. Her agent was about to go to the program crew. Don't go. I really can do it. Han Yueyao was very stubborn. Anyway, she couldn't miss the rare opportunity Su Yu had given her. She couldn't drag her friend Yuan Bo down with her. At this moment, Yuan Bo arrived with his entourage. Yuan Bo's agent didn't like Han Yueyao and thought she got in because of her connections. If you're ready, go. Don't waste time. Yuan Bo's agent urged Han Yueyao. So, they were led to the entrance of the stage by the program crew. Yuan Bo looked down and saw Han Yueyao's ankle was swollen. Damn it. Can you do it? Will you die on the stage? Don't worry. I won't. Han Yueyao gritted her teeth. Yuan Bo was about to say something when the host announced, let's welcome Bo Yao duo with the warmest applause. Han Yueyao and Yuan Bo walked onto the stage hand in hand. Today, they chose the tango. They all knew the range of the tango was big and if they couldn't keep up with the rhythm, they might embarrass themselves. Perhaps Han Yueyao had underestimated her injury. Normally, she could endure the pain of walking, but when it came to dancing, the strength was simply worse than death. After dancing a few times, she felt she couldn't go on. But the audience was far away and couldn't see anything. But Yuan Bo, who had his arm around Han Yueyao's waist, saw the sweat on her forehead. Damn it. Are you in pain? What should we do? Maybe, stop dancing. They took the opportunity to whisper to each other. I'm fine. Let's continue. Han Yueyao said the words with great difficulty. She gritted her teeth and endured it. Unfortunately, she made a mistake in the most difficult move. She spun 360 degrees gracefully on the spot and tilted down to be caught by Yuan Bo. But when she spun, her feet were in extreme pain. Therefore, when he leaned down, it was too early for Yuan Bo to react. She fell to the ground. The audience and the judges were all shocked and speechless. Yuan Bo was dumbfounded. He hurried to help her up. Gritting her teeth, she finished the last few steps. Finally, the music stopped and they bowed to the audience. Before she could speak, Yuan Bo explained, "I'm sorry, everyone. My partner's foot was seriously injured before she went on the stage. But to not disappoint you, she insisted on going on the stage. That's why she made a small mistake. We apologize for our mistake. But please give this stubborn girl a round of applause for her professionalism." After Yuan Bo finished speaking, everyone knew what had happened. Thunderous applause broke out without any explanation. Embarrassed, Han Yueyao bowed deeply to them. Then Yuan Bo took her hand and walked to the back of the stage. When they were removing her makeup in the dressing room, Yuan Bo asked her, "How did you injure your foot?" Having been in the entertainment industry for years, Yuan Bo knew this too well. How could it be so coincidental that she got injured before she went on the stage? Someone must have done it on purpose. Chapter 39:11. Han Yueyao didn't speak. She picked up a cotton pad and wiped off the makeup on her face. "If you don't tell me, I'll get someone to take down the surveillance cameras." "Don't. I don't want people to say it's a publicity stunt." Han Yueyao stopped him in time. "Then tell me who did it." Han Yueyao fell silent. "Han Yueyao, I don't care about you. I just want to know if we can make it to the next round. After all, we're in the same team and we're bound together. You're so selfish that you didn't tell me anything. You even made a mistake just now. Don't you know we're likely to be eliminated?" "I'm sorry." Han Yueyao lowered her head and apologized to Yuan Bo. "I don't want to hear your apology." "Who did it?" Yuan Bo wouldn't let it go. "It was Ding Lan. She slipped and fell on me in the washroom," Han Yueyao explained calmly. Hearing her words, Yuan Bo slammed the door and left without a word. Sitting in the chair, Han Yueyao had mixed feelings. The entertainment industry is indeed dirty, isn't it? This is just the beginning. Han Yueyao murmured to herself. In fact, she wasn't worried that she would be framed again and again. Instead, she was worried that she would lose her mind one day and become a woman like Ding Lan who framed others. Ding Lan and a famous male star were in the same team and it wasn't their turn to go on the stage yet. So, they sat in the lounge and drank tea while watching the performances of the contestants. When Yuan Bo pushed open the door and entered, Ding Lan was talking and laughing with the male star. Seeing Yuan Bo enter, she froze for a moment and then said with a smile, "You danced well, Bo, come out." Yuan Bo tried to sound as calm as possible. "You want to see me?" Ding Lan stood up with a smile. They weren't strangers and had added each other on WeChat for a long time, but they didn't talk much. Ding Lan liked to mingle with rich people and directors and didn't have much to do with male stars. Yuan Bo, on the other hand, liked to sleep with newcomers, so they didn't interfere with each other. Ding Lan was called out by Yuan Bo and they came to a quiet corner. "What's the matter?" Ding Lan lowered her head and fiddled with her manicured nails. "Did you hurt Han Yueyao?" "I said I didn't do it on purpose. I fell down and got hurt too." With that, Ding Lan rolled up her sleeves to show Yuan Bo the bruise under her elbow. This woman was indeed ruthless. In order to harm others, she did not hesitate to injure herself. "Stop acting in front of me. Other people might believe you, but I don't. You're afraid that Han Yueyao will threaten you, right?" Are you joking? She's just a newcomer. How can she be a threat to me?" "Bo, you've been in the industry for quite some time now. Can you not be so childish?" Yuan Bo sneered. "It's true that she's a newcomer, but she has a lot of resources. Everyone knows she has Suyu behind her. I advise you to be careful. Don't go for wool and come home shorn. Besides, if you hurt her, you'll hurt me. If our group is eliminated, I won't let you off, Dinglon. I'm curious. She's not your girl. Why are you so worried about her? Even if her leg is broken, the show will find a new partner for you. You won't be affected. So, mind your own business, young man. I'm going to interfere in Han Yueyao's business. Don't talk nonsense with me. Let's wait and see. Leaving the threatening words, Yuanbo turned to leave. Dinglon rolled her eyes at Yuanbo's back. Do you fucking think you can scare me? Little boy, do you think you can threaten me? Why don't you look at yourself in the mirror? The live stream finally ended. With her injury, Han Yueyao sat backstage and didn't want to go to the hospital. When the judges announced the results, Han Yueyao had a bad feeling. Chapter 39:12. Yuanbo and Han Yueyao, I'm sorry. You've worked hard and Yao Yao is injured, but a mistake is a mistake. We must treat the other contestants fairly. So today, you're in the pending group. Okay. Thank you, teacher. Han Yueyao bowed modestly and accepted the judge's decision. However, this also meant that there would be an elimination round next week. They would have to PK with the teams that had yet to be determined on the first day. If they lost, they'd say goodbye to the dance stage forever. If they won, they'd go further. After the results were announced, Dinglon smiled slightly. Good. This was the effect she wanted. After the live show, Yuanbo and Han Yueyao walked out. I'm really sorry to drag you into this. If you feel sad, why don't you change your partner? Han Yueyao thought she had indeed harmed the interests of her group. Yuanbo was very popular, but unfortunately, he was on the pending group. His fans must be furious. Are you done? Yuanbo looked at her calmly. Yes. Then let's go to the hospital. Then Yuanbo pulled Han Yueyao out. After a few steps, he saw her leg was injured and carried her up. He lifted Han Yueyao up in his arms and carried her like a princess. Many people were stupefied by his action. Whoa! What's going on? They're acting together. This isn't a dating show. Yeah. Yuanbo seems to treat Han Yueyao well. Isn't Han Yueyao injured? I guess Yuanbo is doing this out of concern for her as a friend. Yuanbo likes to flirt with new actresses. What's so strange about that? The stars of the other groups began to talk about it in private. Fortunately, Yuanbo wasn't stupid. He carried her out through the back door and got into the nanny van. Then he drove her to the first hospital for a checkup. Then, Han Yueyao's agent and assistant arrived. Su Yu and Imperial Star both learned about it. Han Yueyao, take care of yourself. Don't worry about the competition. At worst, our group will withdraw from the competition. It's not a big deal. With that, Yuanbo was pulled away by his agent. Han Yueyao had mixed feelings. She felt guilty, but more than that, she felt discouraged. Yes, she was a little discouraged after encountering the first difficulty. She didn't know how many Dinglands she would meet in the future. The orthopedic doctor examined her carefully. Su Yu drove over. President Su. Han Yueyao's agent greeted him. How is she? The doctor said she was seriously injured. If she hadn't been sent here in time, she might have been disabled. Seriously injured? If she knows she's injured, why didn't she come to the hospital? Is she out of her mind? Su Yu. President Su, I tried to talk her out of it, but she's very stubborn. She didn't listen to me. You know her temper. I think she didn't want to let you down and miss such a good opportunity, so she took it. Where is she? She's in the room. With a straight face, Yueyao, Lon looked. Which was more important? Her health or her health? How could an adult like Han Yueyao fail to tell the difference? Suyu stormed into the room in fury. When he saw Han Yueyao, he was stunned. Chapter 39:13. Wearing a hospital gown and no makeup, Han Yueyao looked a little pale. Her long curly hair was scattered as she leaned against the hospital bed. She was holding a video call with her cell phone. I'm fine. It's just a small injury. My company is very good to me. Look, after the live broadcast, they sent me to the hospital for a checkup. Although I've been suspended, I won't be hated. I still have one last chance next week. Don't worry. I'll work hard and won't give up easily. I heard it's snowing in Jing City. Yao, do you want to eat anything? I'll send some to you. I want to eat Mom's dumplings, but they'll spoil when you send them to me. So I plan to ask for leave from my boss after this competition, no matter if I advance or get eliminated. I'll go back to see you guys. Mom, you have to make dumplings for me. Okay. I'll wait for you. Your dad has been worried about you. He's going to buy a ticket to see you. The original plan was for the show to invite Han Yueyao's parents backstage to watch their daughter compete and put on a family drama for the audience. But at the last moment, Han Yueyao didn't agree. She didn't want to rely on hype and entertainment as soon as she debuted. So, she refused the show's request. Han Yueyao's parents must be upset when they saw their daughter get injured on TV and was suspended. At the hospital, Han Yueyao turned on the video call and talked to her parents so they wouldn't worry about her. Don't worry. Don't worry about me. My boss is a good person. He's been taking good care of me. After hanging up, Han Yueyao looked sideways at Suyu and smiled. Good thing I didn't say anything bad about you. Otherwise, you'd have heard everything. Are you still in pain? He had wanted to scold her, but when he saw the warm girl who was talking to her parents on the video call, he couldn't help it. Suyu suddenly couldn't bear it and couldn't say anything. In fact, he couldn't even crack a joke. Instead, he looked very serious. It hurts. It hurts so much. I'm sorry, President Su. I've really embarrassed Imperial Star this time. I fell down just like that. It's so ugly. It's not embarrassing. You tried your best. Fortunately, you were sent here in time. Otherwise, your leg would be crippled. Do you understand? Are you all right now? Thank goodness. Han Yueyao smiled. You'd better avoid this kind of lucky event in the future. Listen carefully, the competition is not important. Star King has many ways to promote artists. Apart from Dancing Allure, there are many variety shows that invite our artists. This one won't make a difference. Don't work so hard and even disregard your own health. President Su, you're so serious that I almost have an illusion that you're a very gentle and good boss. Don't talk nonsense. Suyu said angrily and then sat down in front of her bed. She picked up the fruit knife and the apple, peeling it without any interest. Tell me, what's wrong with your foot? Suyu lowered his head and asked casually while peeling an apple. I'm fine. I just got injured and fell down. How did you fall down? Suyu asked. I was in the washroom and, tell me the truth. Otherwise, I'll ask your agent and assistant and check the surveillance cameras. So, Han Yueyao, you must tell me the truth. Chapter 39:14. Seeing the seriousness on Su Yu's face, Han Yueyao didn't dare to talk nonsense. She told Su Yu everything that had happened. Oh. Okay. Su Yu only said 2 words without any expression on his face. President Su, I'm really fine. I'm still a newcomer and don't want to bring trouble to the company or make trouble for myself. Here, have an apple. Su Yu didn't mention it and handed her a peeled apple. Han Yueyao took it and took a small bite. Then she stole a glance at Su Yu. From this angle, she suddenly felt President Su was really handsome. Especially when he pretended to be serious and didn't smile. He picked up a tissue and wiped the fruit knife he had just used. With his head down, she could clearly see his long eyelashes. Han Yueyao thought to herself, it's unreasonable for a man to have such long eyelashes. What are you looking at? Su Yu looked up abruptly and met Han Yueyao's gaze. Ahem. I wanted to ask what perfume you're using, President Su. It smells so good. Han Yueyao immediately found an excuse. She couldn't say she was looking at him because he was good-looking, right? Cloud and Breeze. Ha! Is it the famous Cloud and Breeze perfume from Versace? It smells good. I'm surprised that a super rich man like you would use such a friendly perfume. I thought you'd use the handmade Italian plant perfume that costs tens of thousands per milliliter. Han Yueyao's imagination ran wild. I'm rich, but I'm not a sucker. I don't buy whatever is expensive. You must know that. Su Yu was exasperated. Why did this girl think he was a super rich man? Haha, that's not what I meant. I just feel that you're actually very low-key when it comes to dressing. Compared to those luxury brands, Versace is really not that expensive. You seem to like it very much. I see that many of your clothes are also from this brand. Yeah. So is my belt. Su Yu didn't avoid the topic. Then why? Are you the ambassador of this brand in Asia? Su Yu, are you kidding me? Han Yueyao. I'm serious. I'm not a spokesperson, Su Yu replied seriously. What's your story? Han Yueyao was curious. Su Yu liked Versace. It seemed that all his friends and family knew about it. Even the twins knew to buy a belt for him, and they also bought this brand. That was why Tang Chuan once said that Lord Su was the #1 fan of Versace. There's no story. Maybe, he likes Medusa, Su Yu replied calmly. It was Han Yueyao's turn to be speechless. Medusa, a snake woman, a snake-haired banshee in Greek mythology. She was a villain and was a classic symbol of Versace. Fine. I can only say that your taste is too heavy. Han Yueyao couldn't help but chuckle. Rest well. I'll observe you for a few days. If you don't feel well, I'll cancel your live stream next week. No. No. Do you want to become a cripple? No. I don't want to withdraw from the competition so easily. It happened suddenly. The show and the audience will understand, Su Yu persuaded Han Yueyao patiently. I don't like to give up halfway. You're as stubborn as a donkey, Su Yu scolded Han Yueyao helplessly. Compared with you, I'm nothing. You're the most stubborn donkey in the world, Han Yueyao tilted her head and refuted Su Yu. What about me? Su Yu looked at Han Yueyao in amusement. Chapter 39:15. Su Yu looked at Han Yueyao casually and didn't look angry. You've liked Sister Mian for a long time and still can't give up. Sure enough, Han Yueyao touched Su Yu's weakness in a moment of desperation. Sure enough, Su Yu felt awkward. no one had mentioned Huamin for a long time. After all, Huamin was pregnant with her second child. Even if it was a joke, no one dared to mention it in front of Su Yu. In fact, Han Yueyao admired Su Yu because no matter how bad the rumors were, he always loved her. After so many years of love for Huamin, he was a man worthy of respect. Even if he liked Huamin and loved Huamin, so what? He didn't destroy Huamin's family. He only treated her well in silence. So, Han Yueyao liked Su Yu mainly because Su Yu was a serious person. Whether it was to his friends, family, or the person he liked. He was really, really serious, don't talk nonsense. That's all in the past. I don't like Dr. Hui anymore. She's so pregnant and fat. Who would like her? You're so cute when you don't mean what you say. Han Yueyao couldn't help but laugh. Don't touch on your sore spot. Rest well. I'm leaving. Embarrassed to continue the conversation, Su Yu turned around and walked out. President Su, thank you. Su Yu stopped in his tracks, not understanding why Han Yueyao suddenly said that. He held the door handle with one hand and put the other hand in his pants pocket. He slowly turned his head. Han Yueyao looked at him and said word by word, "You always make me feel that I'm very important and that I exist." Su Yu smiled and didn't say anything. He opened the door and left. He knew what Han Yueyao meant. It wasn't easy for Han Yueyao to work alone in another city. Although Su Yu's mouth was vicious and he often quarreled with her, he had always taken good care of her. When she went on a reality show, the first thing he did was to visit her when she was injured. He did not treat her as a money-making machine, nor did he treat her half-heartedly. Most of the time, he was like a friend, which made Han Yueyao feel close to him. After Su Yu left, Han Yueyao held the peeled apple that Su Yu had peeled for her and was reluctant to eat it. She took a photo with the apple in her hand. He wrote, "Life is a journey on foot. We have to go through thousands of difficulties and dangers, and we will definitely welcome the most beautiful scenery." However, she had blocked Su Yu from her WeChat moments. She was afraid that Su Yu would overthink if he saw the attached picture. Therefore, she only blocked Su Yu. But the gossipy Su Xiaoxiao still left a comment. Su Xiaoxiao, wow, are you in a new relationship? Han Yueyao replied to Su Xiaoxiao, don't talk nonsense. Huamin, I'm at a maternity store. I'll visit you after I finish shopping. Tell me what you want to eat and I'll bring it to you. Han Yueyao replied to Huamin, thank you, Sister Mian. I really don't want to eat anything. You're not feeling well right now, so don't go back and forth. Yuan Bo, Han Jincheng, are you crippled? Han Yueyao replied to Yuan Bo, Canon King Yuan, I'm fine thanks to you. Seeing Han Yueyao's reply and calling him Canon King Yuan, Yuan Bo was speechless. He felt that this woman was really straightforward, so simple and so crude. But, he liked it. Bo, I don't think Han Yueyao will be discharged in a week. Why don't we ask the show to change her female companion? Our company has chosen a very popular actress for you. Look at her photo. His agent walked over to Yuan Bo with a tablet and offered to change his female companion, which meant that he didn't want Han Yueyao. Now that Han Yueyao was injured, it would be worse if she was replaced. Chapter 39:16. No. Bo, why are you so stubborn? I'm doing this for your own good. I don't need you to do this for my own good. I'll continue dancing until I'm eliminated. Otherwise, I'll stay with Han Yueyao forever. Yuan Bo couldn't abandon Han Yueyao at this time because he felt the girl had a hard time. So, he rejected his agent's suggestion. Han Yueyao's hospitalization wasn't a big deal. It wasn't serious to the point of crippling her leg, but she did sprain it and couldn't walk around freely. Suyu asked someone to find a nurse to take care of her, and Huamin asked the doctors and nurses he was familiar with in the first hospital to take care of her. But what touched Han Yueyao the most was Su Xiaoxiao's visit. Su Xiaoxiao was supposed to leave in a few days, but Han Yueyao's accident forced her to postpone her trip. She stayed here to take care of Han Yueyao. Xiaoxiao, you took care of me in the car accident last time. I feel bad. Han Yueyao looked at Su Xiaoxiao guiltily. Don't say that. Are we friends? If we're friends, then be good. Aren't you going to join the army in the Northwest in a few days? I don't want to waste your time, it's okay. I told my uncle that I'll go register in a few days. I'll wait for you. Then, Su Xiaoxiao soaked Han Yueyao's hospital gown in a basin and took it to the washroom to wash it. Although Su Xiaoxiao was rich, she knew how to be grateful. When they lived in the same dorm room, Han Yueyao had washed her clothes many times. So, this time, she took the initiative to return the favor. This time, Lin Heng didn't come to visit Han Yueyao. Instead, he sent a lackey over. The guy looked familiar to Han Yueyao. After knocking on the door and entering, he put down a fruit basket and said, "Big brother Lin sent me here." Then, he left in a hurry. Su Xiaoxiao didn't see him in the washroom while washing clothes, so Han Yueyao didn't say anything. Now that Xiaoxiao was leaving, it was time for the love triangle between the three of them to end. Lying in the hospital bed, Han Yueyao was browsing Weibo on her cell phone. To her surprise, she saw that she was on the hot search list again. The trending topic was, "Get out of the entertainment industry." She clicked on it and saw it was Yuan Bo's fans who scolded her for bringing trouble to their idol. The other fans were also furious. So, they started to post about her on the hot search list. Han Yueyao didn't care about this kind of thing. After all, the netizens liked to criticize her. At this moment, her manager probably saw the news and sent her a WeChat message. "Yao Yao, do you want the company to help you release a statement?" "It's okay. It's true that I got them into trouble. Let them scold me." Han Yueyao was in a good mood. But as soon as she said that, she saw Yuan Bo post something. It said, "My dance partner, Yu Yao, was injured, but she persevered to the end. I'm very touched. She did her best. If you love me, please don't hurt her. She's a very good girl." With Yuan Bo's explanation, the situation was reversed. The fans all transformed into little princesses, little cotton-padded jackets, and the style changed as well. "Okay, boss. Since you're willing to speak up for her, she must be a good person. We don't hate her anymore. Boss, you're always so kind. We'll always support you and love you. Everyone, don't scold Han Yueyao. She's boss's dance partner and they have a competition together next week. Let's not deliberately stir up trouble." In the trainee dance studio of Imperial Star, Gao Yeruo held her cell phone with a dark expression. "What should we do, Yeruo? Yuan Bo has stepped in. We can't continue to sway them," a lackey beside her asked anxiously. Chapter 39:17. Then change the topic. Spread the rumor that the vixen Han Yueyao is having an affair with the boss and seducing Yuan Bo, huh? That's not good. If it's found out, she'll have to take legal responsibility. It's a rumor. It seemed that the little follower had some legal knowledge. Just do as I say. What are you worried about? I'm here. Gao Yeruo didn't want Han Yueyao to be happy. She was injured but Han Yueyao was still making up all kinds of rumors. Then Gao Yeruo and her followers bought some ghostwriters and continued to spread rumors. However, Yuanbo's fans were very strong and many of them had been loyal for years. They fought back against Gao Yeruo and the others. While protecting Yuanbo, they also protected Han Yueyao. At 6 p.m. in the evening, Huamin sat alone in a coffee shop on the commercial street he invested in. The bodyguards were less than 2 meters away from her. 5 or 6 bodyguards followed a young lady silently but didn't dare to approach her. They knew a young lady wasn't in a good mood. "President Hua, would you like some warm milk?" The manager of the coffee shop asked cautiously, not daring to offend the big boss. "No need. Pour me a glass of water." "Okay." Then the waiter poured a glass of water for Huamin. She sat there quietly with a heavy expression on her face. Su Yu was going to have dinner with a client after work when he passed by the commercial street. Driving his sports car, he glanced at the coffee shop Huamin invested in. To his surprise, he really saw Huamin. Huamian's car was parked outside. There were bodyguards by the car and bodyguards inside. Seeing so many bodyguards, he knew Huamin must be here. Su Yu parked the car on the side of the road and walked in. Huamin's bodyguards all knew Su Yu and didn't dare to stop him. The bodyguards were about to greet him when Su Yu shushed them. Then, she deliberately walked over to Huamin and sat down opposite him. She teased, "Pregnant woman, why are you alone?" Huamin jerked his head up and laughed. "You're the pregnant one. What are you doing? Spacing out here?" "Yes, I'm in a daze." "Do you have an appointment?" "If you have an appointment with your husband, I will leave. I don't want to be a third wheel." Su Yu knew that Qin Chu doted on Huamin very much. He certainly couldn't bear to let her be alone. "No, my husband doesn't know I'm here." "What's wrong? Is there something on your mind?" Su Yu asked when he saw that Huamin wasn't in a good mood. "Yes, I'm not in a good mood. I'm a little sad." She had known Su Yu for a few years, so she could still have intimate conversations with him. "What's the matter? Tell me. I want to know what's the matter that can make our genius Dr. Hua so sad that she's sitting here drinking water alone. Ni Yang and Jia are leaving on a plane today. I wanted to see them off, but I'm afraid I'll be sad and cry, so I didn't go. When I saw their WeChat messages, I was a little sad." Huamin held her cell phone and spoke in a low voice. Seeing her like this really made people feel uncomfortable. Yeah, it's a good thing that the kid emigrated. Although he retired, there's a lot of negative news about him. If his mother and brother want peace, they have to leave here and start over. Yeah, I just can't bear to see the people around me leave one by one. Don't talk nonsense. You still have us, right? Even Qin Ning was brought back by Mr. Tang. Let's have fun. When young Master Shen remarries Wei Ying, we'll have another group of friends. Su Yu tried to cheer up Huamin. Su Yu, if one day I leave, will you be sad too? Chapter 39:18. Where are you going? Are you going to Noah's Ark? Are you going to Mars? Su Yu teased. I'm going to a place very far away and I'm never coming back, Huamin said. That's fine. I'll move there too. I'll be your neighbor. Su Yu continued to smile. What if you can't go to that place? Don't be ridiculous. There's nothing I can't do. Wherever you go, I'll go. After saying that, Su Yu suddenly felt that this sentence was too explicit and quickly changed it. What I mean is, Mr. Wei and Xiao Wei, Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling, Tang Chuan and Qin Ning, will all move with you. Okay. Huamin forced a smile, but it was obvious that she was still in low spirits. It's already past 6 and the sky is dark. Aren't you going back? Suyu looked at his watch and reminded Huamin. I just want to be alone for a while. If my husband knew, he would be worried about me. I'll go back after I've adjusted myself. Have you eaten? Huamin shook her head. What do you want to eat? I'll accompany you. I don't want to eat anything. Huamin lowered her head and continued to play with her phone. Why don't you come with me to collect a debt? Collect a debt? Huamin was stunned. Yeah. I was going to meet a client later. That client owes me a lot of money. I see that you're always thinking about nonsense. Why don't you come with me to collect the debt? When we get the money back, we'll split it. What do you think? How much does he owe you? Huamin was finally a little interested. Not much. Only 8 million. Oh, that's not much. Why didn't he pay? Do you have no money or? No, that guy is the brother-in-law of Li Long, the CEO of Longting Group. So, relying on his brother-in-law's good relationship with me, he has been acting shamelessly. In fact, it's not that he has no money. Last month, he bought diamonds for his wife at the auction house and spent tens of millions. He just complained to me that he was poor. Is this man afraid of his wife? Yeah, I'm pretty scared. I heard that he's the kind that treats his wife very well. Then I have an idea. Alright, I'll go with you. Huamin was distracted by Suyu's matter. She wasn't so sad anymore. She got up and left. The bodyguards drove behind Suyu's car while Huamin sat in the front passenger seat. Suyu was afraid that she would be cold, so he directly closed all the skylights. Then, she took out a small blanket from the storage box and covered Huamin's knees with it. I'm fine, don't worry so much. How can I do that? You're a national treasure on the level of a panda. I must protect you. Every time Suyu was with Huamin, he was very relaxed. When he drove, he could even unconsciously whistle. Maybe because Huamin was pregnant, Suyu drove slowly, afraid that the pregnant woman would be frightened. So, many drivers behind him cursed, is this a fucking Lamborghini or an old bull? Then, Lord Su arrogantly replied, there's nothing wrong with it, buddy. The logo of a Lamborghini is an old bull. The drivers behind him were so angry that they vomited blood on the spot. Little Bean sent Suyu a video call because she wanted Suyu to take her out to play this weekend. She didn't expect that the person who accepted the video call was her mommy. Ah. What's going on? Little Bean was confused. What's up, Little Bean? Mommy. Is it really you? It's me. But I sent a video call to Handsome Sue. You. Mommy, what did you do with Handsome Sue behind Daddy's back? Little Bean's shout made Mr. Chin, who was eating dinner not far away, tremble. Chapter 39:19. Huamin was speechless. Suyu was speechless. Pudding also walked over curiously. She walked behind Little Bean and pretended to be surprised. Oh, it's really Mommy. But didn't she just call Daddy and say she was alone in the coffee shop? What's going on? Are you two professional scammers? Huamin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Mommy, you have to explain why you were in Handsome Sue's car. Otherwise, we won't forgive you. Little Bean didn't give up. Suyu said, Little Bean, look at your mommy. She's almost 140 pounds. Your Uncle Sue is handsome and handsome. Am I that desperate? Do you think Dr. Hua is so fat that I can do it? Ha, Suyu, you're slandering me. Huamin looked at Suyu and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I'm just stating a fact, Suyu explained calmly. Oh, Mommy. So handsome Sue doesn't like you? Little Bean laughed. Yes, Miss Chin Moo Moo. It's all because of you that two men dislike me, Hua-min said. Yes. Look, your husband won't even look back at you. He only wants to show you his handsome back. Little Bean purposely turned the camera to Chin Chu. Sure enough, Mr. Chin was sitting there, eating slowly and methodically. Chin Chu looked at Little Bean lovingly. Girl, don't cause trouble. Little Bean is trying to start a family war. Pudding explained. Didn't you add fuel to the fire? I'm not the only one who did that. Humph, okay, kids, I'll talk to you later. We're going to collect the debt. Hua-min was about to turn off the video. Mrs. Chin, Mr. Chin will prepare a durian and a keyboard for you when we get home. Which one do you like? Pudding teased her mother. Let's not talk about that for now. I think you and Little Bean are too free, so I plan to arrange hosting classes, dance classes, guzheng classes, solfeggio and ear training, and taekwondo classes for the two of you. Oh, right, Spanish. What do you think? Mommy, we were just joking. Why are you so serious? Pudding quickly corrected herself. Mommy, I love you. Come back soon. Be careful. I'll peel the durian and put it on a plate for you, Little Bean quickly flattered. Alright, that's all for now. The older, the wiser. Hua-min's words changed the situation. The two children were frightened and hung up the video call. Chin Chu deliberately turned around and asked, How was it? Who won? Your wife won, of course. She's so cunning. Little Bean pouted. Daddy, your woman is ruthless. I'm impressed, Pudding said. I'm impressed. Little Bean added again. So, I told you not to mess with her. Chin Chu smiled slightly. We didn't mess with her. I sent a video call to Handsome Sue, but Mommy picked it up. Daddy, are you sure you don't want to send someone to follow her? Little Bean deliberately ran over and sat on Chin Chu's lap. Alright, stop fooling around. Go and eat some fruit. Daddy still has work to do. Chin Chu really didn't want to joke with his daughters. After all, he knew his wife very well. Not to mention that Su Yu and Hua-min were alone together. Hua-min had lived at Su Yu's house for a year and he never worried. Plus, his wife was pregnant with his son and was about to give birth. Who would be so narrow-minded as to suspect something? At the entrance of a company, let's go up. The guy must be in the office, Su Yu said. No, watch me. Hua-min got out of the car with a smile and walked to the front desk in the lobby. Chapter 39:20. My great aunt, please walk slowly. After Su Yu parked his car, he hurriedly followed behind Hua-min. The bodyguards had a tacit understanding and did not dare to follow them. They only parked their cars not far behind Su Yu's car and secretly observed. Then, one person followed Hua-min and Su Yu from a distance to ensure their safety. Hua-min supported his waist with one hand and touched his round belly with the other. He walked directly to the receptionist. May I know who you're looking for? The receptionist smiled politely. Is Sheng Haitao inside? Hua-min deliberately did not mention Chief Sheng and called him by his full name. It was very thought-provoking. Of course, she had also asked Su Yu about the name of the company's CEO on the way here. Chief Sheng is here. May I know if you have an appointment? I don't need an appointment. Don't you know who I am? As Hua-min spoke, he deliberately touched his belly. Su Yu was dumbfounded by his expression and acting skills. I'll call Chief Sheng to inform him. No need. I'll go up myself. You do your work. After saying that, Huamin led Suyu directly to the elevator. Then, he asked in a low voice, which floor is the CEO's office on? The top floor, Suyu replied. Okay, let's go up. Dr. Hua. I didn't expect you to have such a scheming side. Ha ha ha. Suyu was so smart that he could tell at a glance what Huamin was up to. I'm just helping you collect the debt. Do you think it's easy for me? Huamin rolled his eyes at him. It's not easy. It's really not easy. When I get the money back, I'll give it all to you. I don't want it. I'm not short of money. The two chatted like this, and in the blink of an eye, they reached the top floor. When they entered the CEO's office, they heard the CEO talking on the phone with an anxious look on his face. Honey, listen to me. I really didn't. I only have you. Don't you know how I've been all these years? You have to believe me, I'm innocent. Hi, Chief Sheng. Huamin said sweetly on purpose. The moment she opened her mouth, the person on the other end of the phone wasted his explanation. Honey, I'll explain it to you in detail when we get home tonight. Please don't get angry. The man hung up the phone and glanced at Suyu, then at Huamin. President Su, I only owe you some money. Do you have to be so ruthless and push me to my death? My wife is exploding. Chief Sheng, what are you talking about? My friend and I didn't do anything, Suyu sat on the sofa with a smile. In fact, he was well aware of it. It was also obvious that he was taking advantage of the situation. Chief Sheng, 8 million isn't a lot of money. If it's convenient for you, you can pay it back, Huamin said with a smile. I don't have it right now. I'm having a hard time with cash flow recently. Oh, I see. That's fine. Don't worry. I have nothing to do anyway. In the future, I'll come to the company once a day to drink tea and chat with you. After Huamin said this, the man was scared out of his wits. No, no, I beg you. Please let me go. Chief Sheng, what are you talking about? It's not easy for our pregnant female employees to come to you every day to collect debts. It's hard for everyone. You have to understand us, right? Yes, yes, yes. Then, the man immediately picked up the phone and dialed the internal line. Finance department. I don't care where you get the money from. Transfer 8 million to Imperial Star's account immediately, right now. After hanging up the phone, the man looked at Suyu with a sad face. Chief Su, will this work? Don't cheat me, okay? Okay, I'll leave as soon as I get the message. But Chief Su, I have a favor to ask, the man continued. What is it? Suyu was in a good mood and the corners of his mouth curled up. Can you get your pregnant female employee to give my wife a call and explain the relationship properly? She insists that I have a mistress outside and even a child. Chapter 39-21. Suyu was still laughing when they walked out of the company. Can you stop it? Are you done laughing? Huamin was speechless. Dr. Hua, I didn't expect you to be so good. I asked for more than a month's worth of debt, and you got it out just like that. Suyu still couldn't believe that Huamin got more than 8 million yuan in debt with just a few words. He didn't use violence, didn't use his connections, and didn't fall out with them. Don't you know that pregnant women are very popular? I can tell, but you're too smart. How did you know that the receptionist would tell his wife? Suyu didn't know much about women's schemes, so he naturally didn't understand the stakes. Didn't you say that he's afraid of his wife? Yeah. Then his wife must have spies in his company. That's why I went to see him in such a high-profile manner. Even if the receptionist didn't say anything, others would. I see. I've learned something. Suyu was very impressed by Huamin. Come, we agreed to split it half. Suyu picked up his phone and was about to transfer the money. Don't. If you really want to, donate it to the foundation. Auntie Sue. Southside often receives many children from poor families, especially newborns who were abandoned by their parents because of illness. They're very pitiful. With our foundation's help program, they'll have a lot of chances to be reborn. Huamian stopped Suyu and didn't want to take the money. She didn't want it anyway. She knew that Suyu didn't lack money. When he said that he would give her half, he definitely wasn't pretending. Okay, I'll listen to you. Suyu called his mother without hesitation. He was supposed to donate half of it. However, Huamin cared so much about the Southside Hospital Foundation that he donated more than 8 million yuan at once. Mian, do you really want to go back to Southside? It's okay. I don't think that way anymore. Huamin lowered his head. The two of them walked on the road. If you want to go back, I have a way. No matter how powerful Xingrou's father is, he's not as powerful as my grandpa. I'll go to my grandpa. Please don't. This is my own business. I don't want to trouble Lord Su. Also, I'm in labor now, so I really don't have the time to care about Southside. It's good that I was fired. Look at me, I've been eating, drinking, and having fun all day. She turned around and indeed, there was more meat on her face and her waistline had also become more plump. You have to take good care of yourself. The third trimester looks quite scary. Suyu naturally hoped that Huamin would give birth to the child safely. No one wanted Huamin to be safe and happy more than him. I know, but did you go to the hospital to see Yao Yao? Yes, that damned girl is also very stubborn. Suyu sighed. Yao Yao's temper is a bit weird, but she's a good person. You can consider her. Huamin was a bit blunt. Suyu deliberately changed the topic. Recently, the company doesn't have any good artists. I'll consider spending a lot of money to make her work, as long as she works hard. I'm not talking about that. It's your personal business, I've been looking for her. My aunts introduced me to a lot of girls and added them on WeChat. Look, my WeChat is exploding. Suyu deliberately showed his cell phone to Huamin to prove that he had added those girls on WeChat. Maybe he didn't want to burden Huamin. Suyu and Huamin walked casually on the street, but to their surprise, many people followed them and took many photos. In a club, the woman smoked as she looked at the photos, her eyes cold and piercing. I didn't expect Suyu to be so infatuated. After so many years, he's still thinking about that bitch Huamin. He had been gossiped about by his colleagues for the whole day, and before he got off work, he was invited to have tea with his superior. There were still a lot of things waiting to be solved in the municipal bureau. Gao Ran was not in the mood to be entangled in such personal matters. Probably because he was tired after the whole day, Gao Ran couldn't help but raise his voice when Zhu Lingling was being unreasonable. Gao Ran, how dare you shout at me? Zhu Lingling stared at her husband in surprise. Lingling, don't be unreasonable, okay? I have a lot of things to deal with in the bureau. What things? Is it about you and Chen Yuning? Are you done yet? I've transferred her away. What else do you want? Do you want me to shoot her myself? Will you be happy then? He was angry again. Gao Ran was rarely so agitated. Secretary Zhang had been pressuring him repeatedly to find his daughter. Gao Ran had been tense these days. Now that he had a chance to vent, he couldn't help but explode. Chapter 39:23. Yeah, I told you to shoot and kill you. What? You can't bear to do it. When a woman was angry, she could explode at any time. Gao Ran was very nice to her and rarely talked to her so loudly. So when she saw her husband lose control of his emotions, Zhu Lingling felt wronged. Gao Ran was even angrier after hearing this. He was so angry that he put one hand on his waist and didn't know what to say. He bit his lower lip tightly and felt his whole body tremble with anger. Dad, Mom, stop arguing, okay? Gao Buiyuan was lying in the bedroom and watching cartoons. Hearing the argument in the living room, he hurried over to calm them down. Gao Ran, have you been bewitched by that vixen? Now you think I'm bad in every way. You feel wronged because I told you to transfer her away, right? You can't explain it to your little lover, right? Zhu Lingling, I really have to hand it to you for saying such things. He called Zhu Lingling by her full name, which made her even angrier. Son, let's go. Let him miss his little lover at home. Zhu Lingling took Gao Buiyuan's hand and walked out. It's so late. Where are you going? Although he was angry, he still cared about the safety of his wife and child. I'm taking Buiyuan to see my ex-boyfriend, maybe to make Gao Ran angry, Zhu Lingling yelled. Gao Ran was so angry that he let go of her hand. Then, Zhu Lingling carried her son out of the door. Gao Ran fell onto the sofa and felt his head buzzing. He had been working in the city bureau for several years. Although he had a good reputation, it was inevitable that some people would be jealous of him. So this incident happened to be a trigger. After the higher-ups asked, they didn't think it was Gao Ran's fault but slander. But a basin of dirty water splashed on him couldn't be unaffected at all. Plus, he had been under a lot of pressure recently. Gao Ran felt like he was about to collapse. 10 minutes later, he calmed down and picked up his phone to call Zhu Lingling. His phone was turned off. He had no choice but to call his in-laws and ask them to leave the door open for Lingling and Buiyuan. Then, Gao Ran called Qin Chu and asked Qin Chu to have a drink with her. Zhu Lingling drove home with Buiyuan. She planned to go back to her mother's home. Later on, he thought that the old man would be worried if he went back, so he simply drove to South Hill Manor. She moved into Huamin's house with her child. Huamin and the twins were naturally very happy and welcomed the mother and son to stay the night. Little Bean, in particular, was very happy. She was originally sleepy, but now she was awake again. She took Buiyuan to her toy room and showed him many new toys. Zhu Lingling complained to Huamin and cursed Gao Ran for being a bastard. First Hospital Su Xiaoxiao wrung out a towel with hot water and handed it to Han Yueyao. Come on. Wipe your face and go to bed. Xiao, I'll be discharged tomorrow. You don't have to stay here with me. Thank you for your hard work these days. I'll leave tomorrow morning. Tonight is the last night before I leave. So soon. It's not so soon. I've been delayed for several days. It's all my fault. Han Yueyao felt guilty. No. You made me slack off for several days. Xiao, remember to keep in touch with me when you go to the northwest. Han Yueyao reached out and placed her hand on Su Xiaoxiao's soft and tender hand. Don't worry. I'll keep an eye on you. When you become a big star, I'll boast to my comrades in the army that the popular star Han Yueyao is my bestie. Ha! Xiao, are you sure you won't say goodbye to Lin Hang? Han Yueyao knew Su Xiaoxiao cared about the mechanic most in this city. Chapter 39:24. I won't tell him. I won't let him know. When Su Xiaoxiao was stubborn, she wouldn't change her mind. Xiaoxiao. I'll remember how good you are to me. Han Yueyao was a bit sad. Don't say that. It's a tear gas bomb. Don't play this trick on me. I hate crying. Cheer me up. Okay. The next morning, when Han Yueyao was discharged from the hospital, her agent and assistant came to pick her up. Su Xiaoxiao left the hospital at 5 a.m. She left on a 7 a.m. plane. She left in a low-key manner and few people in the company knew about it. After leaving the hospital, Han Yueyao returned to her dorm room. Looking at the empty room, she felt bad. She sent a WeChat message to Su Xiaoxiao, Xiaoxiao, have a safe trip. Thank you for having you in my life. Less than a minute after she sent the message, she received a reply. She immediately picked it up, thinking it was from Su Xiaoxiao, but to her surprise, it was from Yuan Bo. I just went to the hospital to see you. They said you were discharged. Yeah. Damn it. Why didn't you tell me you were discharged? I came here for nothing. Do you need something? Of course. I'm visiting a patient. How are you? I'm much better. Are you okay with this week's competition? No problem. Okay. Take a rest today. Tomorrow, we'll rehearse this week's dance. Okay. After chatting with this guy on WeChat, Han Yueyao lay in bed to relax. At this moment, someone knocked on the door. Han Yueyao stood up and opened the door slowly. To her surprise, it was An. And was Su Yu's assistant. The whole world knew this. Han Yueyao immediately glanced behind him, thinking Su Yu was here. President Su isn't here. It's just me. I'm alone, and explained, seeing Han Yueyao's thoughts. Oh. Han Yueyao looked embarrassed. President Su asked me to buy these for you. And handed her several big bags of food. Han Yueyao took them. Okay. Thank President Su for me. President Su said you can call him if you need anything. You should take good care of yourself. Okay. And, about Xiaoxiao going to the army, I won't tell anyone, Han Yueyao said immediately. Alright, that's settled then. After An left, Han Yueyao brought the box in and opened it. One of the bags was filled with fruits. They were all exquisite fruits. There was a bag of some new daily necessities. There was also a bag with some de-digio and anti-inflammatory medicine. It seemed that the preparation was quite complete. Tossing and turning in bed, she couldn't fall asleep. Finally, she sent a WeChat message to Su Yu. President Su, I've received everything. And has sent it over. Thank you. Unexpectedly, Su Yu did not reply to her. She didn't see Su Yu for the past few days. It was Su Yu who visited her on her first day in the hospital. Thinking about it, a person like Su Yu was extremely busy. Why would he think of visiting her? At this thought, she felt sad and fell asleep on the bed. When she woke up again, she was woken up by the ringing of her phone. Hello. She picked up the phone in a daze. Han Yueyao, come to the Lego nightclub. It was Su Yu's voice. Huh? Now? Yeah. I'll ask An to pick you up. Get dressed and wait for me. Su Yu knew that she couldn't walk properly, so he asked An to pick her up. Okay. Han Yueyao was still wondering why Su Yu asked her, a patient, to go to the nightclub at such a late hour. When she arrived, she seemed to understand Su Yu's intention. Han Yueyao pushed the door open. It was noisy inside and no one noticed her. And led her to Su Yu's side. Su Yu seemed to be drinking with a famous director. President Su, Miss Han is here. Chapter 39:25. Come here. Suyu beckoned her to sit beside him. In the washroom of the private room, Ding Lan, the female star, put her arms around the director's neck. Director Sun, why hasn't my role been announced yet? I heard the other actors are about to join the cast. How come I didn't receive the notice? Lan Lan, to tell you the truth, you might not be able to join the cast. Why? You promised me. Ding Lan was furious but knew she couldn't defend the director, so she continued to act coquettishly. Then, she used her thighs to rub against some of the director's sensitive areas. Her actions were very familiar. I just found a replacement for your role. Forget about this movie. I'll save a role for you in the next movie, okay? How can you do that? You promised me. Ding Lan was a little anxious. She had used a lot of her connections for this movie. She had slept with 3 men. From the director to the producer to one of the investors. It wasn't easy for her to get the role of the second female lead. She didn't expect that she would be eliminated just like that. What was all the effort she had put in? There's nothing we can do about it. Director Sun, don't you love Lan Lan the most? Why did you do that? I'll be sad. You know I love this movie. Ding Lan didn't dare to offend him directly and had to pretend to be pitiful to win his sympathy. Lan Lan, to tell you the truth, I do want you to join the cast. But, the investor asked me to replace you. I can't do anything about it. He's the god of wealth and uses real money. The investor. That barbarian Luo. Ding Lan remembered that the old pervert had promised her that he would give her a role when they had slept together. No. Boss Luo is only a small shareholder. The biggest investor asked for it. Who's the biggest investor? Ding Lan asked immediately. Imperial Star Entertainment. Imperial Star Entertainment. Suyu. Ding Lan finally realized who he was. Lan Lan, we're familiar with each other and aren't strangers. Let me ask you, have you offended President Su recently? Ding Lan was about to say that she didn't offend Han Yueyao, but then she remembered the rumors between Han Yueyao and Suyu, so she didn't know what to say. Lan Lan, let me give you a piece of advice. You can't afford to offend Suyu. If you offend him, apologize as soon as possible. Otherwise, your future as a star may be difficult. Director Sun tried his best to persuade him. I understand, thank you, Director Sunday. Although Ding Lan was furious, she didn't dare to do anything. She had thought that it was just a rumor. To his surprise, Han Yueyao's backer was really Suyu. She had only accidentally stepped on Han Yueyao's foot, but Suyu had interfered in the matter of replacing her in the new movie. Ding Lan didn't expect that. Not many bosses were willing to do that for their mistresses. Could it be that Han Yueyao was really Suyu's favorite? Ding Lan touched up her makeup in the bathroom. When she came out, she poured herself a glass of wine and walked over to Suyu. Hello, President Su. Do you remember me? You are. Suyu looked up and pretended not to know her. I'm Lan Lan. Which Lan Lan? The one from Tianhe Entertainment. Ding Lan smiled awkwardly. No. I'm Lan Lan from Dancing Allure. I'm sorry. I didn't watch Dancing Allure. Suyu looked at her and answered calmly. Everyone in the room fell silent. Young Master Su was about to flip out. Chapter 39:26. Ding Lan looked even more embarrassed, she couldn't even maintain her smile. Oh. I see. Hee hee. I thought President Su would pay attention to the actresses of President Su's show. I'm busy and don't have much time. What? Do you want to talk to me about something? Suyu wanted to embarrass her. President Su. I don't know what I did wrong to offend you, but I hope you'll forgive me. I'll be eternally grateful if you give me, a B-list actress, a chance to live. To express my apology, I'll drink first. Ding Lon raised the knife in her hand in front of everyone and finished it in one gulp. Director Sun felt sorry for the woman who had slept with him. After all, they had been intimate. So he took the lead in applauding and cheering. Lon Lon, you're a good drinker. You're a heroine. President Su will show you respect. Then, everyone followed suit and applauded. Ding Lon had been in the entertainment industry for a few years and had some influence. Seeing the others trying to smooth things over for her, Suyu said slowly, Miss Lon Lon, I think you're mistaken. You didn't offend me, you offended my employee. So, it's useless for you to apologize to me. You should beg my employee to forgive you. After all, she was almost eliminated because of you. Suyu's words were so clear that everyone knew what was going on. Han Yueyao was nervous. Although she didn't like Ding Lon, she didn't expect to embarrass her in front of so many people. She was alarmed. Suyu reached out and placed his hand on hers, giving her courage. Ding Lon was, after all, a famous actress. She couldn't bring herself to apologize to Han Yueyao. But at the thought that if she didn't apologize to Han Yueyao, she might miss the opportunity to play the supporting actress in a big movie with a commission of 6 million yuan, her heart ached. After much consideration, she decided to apologize. With a smile, she poured herself another glass of wine and looked at Han Yueyao. Little sister Yao Yao, it was my fault. Please forgive me. Then, Ding Lon downed another glass of wine. She was about to take the wine glass when Suyu stopped her. Yao Yao, what did I tell you before? Han Yueyao froze. Suyu continued, remember what it means to give someone a taste of their own medicine. Whatever grievances you've suffered, make them pay back in double. If I remember correctly, Miss Lon Lon accidentally stepped on your foot, didn't she? Do you want to step on it twice? President Su, that's enough. Give me some face. Ha! Lon Lon really doesn't have it easy. Director Sun couldn't stand it anymore and felt bad for his lover. Suyu raised his head and glanced at the man. Give you face. Who do you think you are? Suyu's words made the director's face turn ugly. At this moment, no one in the room dared to make a sound. The young master of the Su family was furious. Even if the municipal party secretary was here, he wouldn't give face to the director. Chapter 39-27. It's okay. Sister, you'd better be careful. You stepped on me today, I'm just a newbie. If I step on a woman who's a movie queen, my career as an actress will be over, right? Yeah. Sister, you're right. Ding Lon forced a smile. Then Suyu stood up slowly and brushed the cigarette ash off his shirt. I, Suyu, have two obvious traits. First, I'm rich. Second, I'm very protective of my people. Anyone who bullies my people will have a bad ending. Today's incident ends here. I don't want others to know about it. Of course, I don't want anyone to use this opportunity to create hype. If someone takes a video secretly, they'll be doomed. These last words could be considered a threat, and they had the effect of deterring them. Then, Suyu took Han Yueyao's arm and walked out. Lord Su, take care. Take care, President Su. The people in the room held their breaths and didn't calm down until Suyu left. After Suyu left, Ding Lon buried her face in her hands and cried on the sofa. She felt that she had really embarrassed herself today. Lon Lon, don't cry. It's okay. It's not a big deal. Suyu, he's too much. Ding Lon cursed in tears. You can't help it. Suyu has always been like this. You've learned your lesson. Stay away from him. The others comforted Ding Lon. Walking out, Han Yueyao still felt like she was floating. How did you feel? Suyu released her arm and asked with a smile. Great. Very great, Han Yueyao told the truth. Silly. You hesitated when I asked you to step on her. I've never done that before. If I had known, I would have stepped harder and stomped her to death. Ha. Okay. Now that you've vented your anger and established your dominance, I guess no one will dare to bully you in dancing allure or when you take jobs. Thank you for standing up for me, President Su. Han Yueyao felt warm in her heart. Ever since she was young, she had never liked to cause trouble. Everything was settled by herself. The feeling of being protected by someone for the first time was really very, very warm. Her feelings for Suyu had deepened. Of course, she only kept these in her heart. Suyu didn't know. Does your leg still hurt? It doesn't hurt anymore. How's the live stream this week? Of course. If you don't believe me, I can run a lap for you. In a good mood, she pretended to run. Suyu waved his hand, gesturing for her to stop. All right, all right, all right. Don't be a tiger. You've just recovered from your injury, why are you running away? You're pretty much done for this week's live broadcast. Even if you're eliminated, it doesn't matter. I've already spoken to the production team and asked them to assign you a less difficult dance. Isn't that fooling people? Then do you want to fool people or cripple your leg? Suyu asked her. I don't want to fool people, but I don't want to be crippled. In your dreams. Alright, the competition's over. You've shown your face and gained popularity. Everyone knows you now. We don't have to go too far, so you didn't have high expectations for Han Yueyao since she was just a newcomer. President Su, did I disappoint you? I'm not a good actress, right? Hearing Suyu's words, Han Yueyao was a bit disappointed. She thought it was because she wasn't good enough that President Su didn't have high expectations for her. Suyu was slightly surprised at first. Then he tilted his head and glanced at her. Sighing, he said, over the years, there have been many talents in Imperial Star. Han Yueyao, you're indeed not the most hardworking and best actress. But for me, you're good enough. Han Yueyao found at this moment, Suyu was neither a boss nor a friend. Instead, he was more like a big brother next door, approachable and unapproachable. Standing on tiptoe, she couldn't help but lean over and kiss him. Yes, this was a crazy idea. Chapter 39-28. For the first time in her life, Han Yueyao wanted to do something brave. The moment she stood on tiptoe to kiss Suyu, Anne's voice came from not far away and interrupted her mercilessly. Suyu didn't pay attention to her at all. Hearing Anne's voice, he walked to the other side. Han Yueyao stood there alone, feeling awkward. President Su, there's a problem with our car. Anne wasn't an alarmist. After working for Suyu for many years, Suyu knew him well. What's wrong? I'll tell you when I get back. Anyway, we can't drive the car today. How about you take a taxi and send Miss Han home? Or I'll call the company and ask the driver to work overtime to pick you up. Suyu looked down at his watch. Forget it. Why bother them at this hour? I'll take a taxi home. What about you? I'll call the 4S shop and ask them to tow the car away, and said. Okay. That's it. With that, Suyu strode back and hailed a taxi. Let's go. I'll drive you home first. President Sue, I'm fine. I can do it myself. Han Yueyao thought she was quite a tough woman. Don't waste time. Let's go. It's cold here. Without a word, Siyu opened the car door and stuffed Han Yueyao into the car. Then he sat in the passenger seat. Imperial Star's employee dormitory. He had said such a thing. Okay. The driver was a middle-aged man in his 40s. He had thin hair and was fat, but he looked kind. Ha! Are you the big boss of Imperial Star? After driving for a few minutes, the driver glanced at Siyu frequently and found him familiar. Then, he finally remembered him. Yeah. Siyu didn't bother to say more. Oh my gosh. It's really you. Didn't you say you're rich? Not bad. Siyu didn't know if he was being modest or showing off. Han Yueyao chuckled behind him. Siyu rolled his eyes at her through the rearview mirror. Oh my god, my daughter likes you so much. President Sue, she said you're handsome and wants to quit school. She said she wants to go to your company to interview for a trainee. This kid. How old is your daughter? Suyu was curious. After my birthday this year, I'll be 12. Suyu, ha ha ha. Han Yueyao couldn't help but laugh wildly, not caring about her ladylike image. Is it funny? Suyu turned around and glared at her. It's so funny. President Sue, I didn't know you were so popular. Han Yueyao chuckled. Suyu was speechless. Then, the driver continued to lament, Big brother, let me tell you, being rich doesn't necessarily mean happiness, right? Many rich people have a lot of bank loans. They are under a lot of pressure all day. They are not as happy as us driving a taxi. I am satisfied as long as I can earn 200 or 300 yuan a day. There's nothing wrong with what you said. Suyu chatted with him casually. At this moment, the driver looked at Han Yueyao behind him. This girl is very pretty. She's an actress in your company, right? Suyu nodded vaguely. You're so lucky. You have all kinds of actresses and can pick any one of them. But you have to take care of your body. You're young and overworked. You'll know when you're my age. Men with weak kidneys can't take care of themselves. So, you have to take it easy. Hearing this, Siyu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Han Yueyao blushed awkwardly. They weren't in kindergarten anymore and naturally understood what he meant. Hey, are you a taxi driver or a paparazzi? You're so old and you're so gossipy, Siyu finally couldn't help but question the driver. President Sue, there's something else. I don't know if I should tell you. Seeing that his boss was lost in thought, and hesitated for a moment before continuing. Whether you should tell me or not, aren't you going to tell me? Suyu looked down at his phone. Today, when I called out to you at the nightclub, Miss Han seemed to want to kiss you. Suyu, don't fucking talk nonsense. Suyu was naturally embarrassed, so he could only scold an I'm not talking nonsense. It's true. If I didn't call out to you, maybe Miss Han would have kissed you. Suyu licked his lips. His expression was inscrutable, but he didn't speak. President Sue, I feel that Miss Han might really like you, and analyzed. Chapter 39:30. Okay. Stop spreading rumors. Hurry up and order takeout. I'm hungry. Suyu didn't want to talk about the things between men and women, so he immediately changed the topic. Are you addicted to takeout? Of course. Do you want to cook? Suyu raised his eyebrows. Then, let's order takeout. And didn't dare to say anything. After all, he wasn't a woman and couldn't cook every day. After all, the boss hired assistants and bodyguards, not cooks, right? On the other side, Qin Chu and Gao Ran were drinking in a German-style beer garden. The two of them sat quietly in the private room. There was a foreign singer singing below. Did you fight with your wife again? Mr. Qin asked first. How did you know? Are you a half-immortal? Gao Ran was astonished. Because you have nothing to be depressed about except fighting with your wife. Gao Ran, Qin Chu knew Gao Ran better than he knew himself. Gao Ran was a workaholic. Maybe because of his father's influence, he was obsessed with his job as a police officer. No matter how busy, tired, and stressed he was, Gao Ran could handle it. But when it came to relationships, he didn't know what to do. Maybe men's minds were always different from women's. Gao Ran thought he had transferred Qin Yuning away. Although there would be trouble in the future, he didn't do anything wrong. However, he did have a clear conscience. Not only did Zhu Lingling not comfort him, she even scolded him. He felt so wronged. Sometimes, I really don't understand what Lingling is thinking. If you could understand women, you'd be a philosopher, Qin Chu said calmly. It's a good thing that my family has lived a simple life for the past few years. If I switched places with you, Lingling would have forced me to my death. Speaking of which, Huamian is a good person. She's open-minded and can trust you at all times. She'll face all difficulties with you. So, she's my destined wife. Speaking of Huamian, Qin Chu was full of pride. It was as if his wife was the best woman in the world. Does that mean that Lingling isn't the one I'm destined to be with? Gao Ran was stunned. So, do you want to try getting a divorce? Qin Chu said with a faint smile. Screw you, don't try to fool me. I don't have the guts to get a divorce. If I do, Lingling will never forgive me. So, if you love her, you should try to accept everything. Women are always insecure, especially when there's an enemy who's better than them. You can't blame her for overthinking. I don't think Qin Yuning is outstanding. She looks average, Gao Ran said honestly. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You only have eyes for your wife. There's nothing wrong with that. We were planning to have a second child. In recent years, the government's policy has been good, allowing women to have a second child. But in fact, after Bui Yuan was born, Lingling has been in poor health. She's very weak and has been sick all the time. My heart aches for her. Okay. Go to my house and pick her up. It's not a big deal. Don't make trouble for her. Qin Chu seldom tried to persuade Gao Ran, but he could tell that Gao Ran was really depressed. Okay. I'll go with you. After chatting with Qin Chu for a while, Gao Ran felt much better. Then he drove to South Hill Manor with Qin Chu. Seeing Gao Ran come in, Huamian immediately said to Zhu Lingling, who was applying a facial mask in the living room, Hey, woman, your man is here to pick you up. Tell him to get out. Zhu Lingling was still angry. Embarrassed, Gao Ran didn't speak and walked toward his son. Let's go, son. Come home with dad. Gao Buiyuan glanced at his father and said calmly, Take your wife home. I want to stay at Auntie Huamian's house for the night. Chapter 39-31. Son, what did you say? Gao Ran thought he was hallucinating. Your son said he doesn't want to leave. He wants to stay the night, Qin Chu repeated to Gao Ran mercilessly. Why? Son. Gao Ran looked hurt. Do you still need to ask? You don't understand your son's feelings after such a big thing. I think you've lived in vain. Zhu Lingling couldn't help but stand up. I. Gao Ran didn't know what to say. At this moment, Little Bean glanced at Gao Ran and said, Uncle Gao Ran, let Bui Yuan stay. You and Auntie Lingling can go home first. My dad will take Bui Yuan home safely tomorrow. Don't worry. Good. Son, you're really something. You even have someone to plead for you. Ha. Gao Ran didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Honey, let's go home. Gao Ran glanced at Zhu Lingling. No. You can go home by yourself. Our son is staying for his future wife. Why are you staying? As a mother-in-law, how can you stay at your daughter-in-law's house? You don't know how to behave yourself. Gao Ran laughed. Get out. You're the one who doesn't know how to behave yourself. Okay, Comrade Zhu Lingling, you've argued and made a scene. Go home. Don't disturb our family. Huamin pushed Zhu Lingling toward the door. Hey, Mian, you're so heartless. You won't even let me stay for one night. It's not that I won't let you stay. I'm just afraid you'll break down. Huamin glanced at Gao Ran. Let's go, honey. Don't make a scene. Gao Ran didn't want to coax his wife in front of everyone, so he held Zhu Lingling's hand shyly. The couple walked out. Bui Yuan, you really don't want to go home with us. Before leaving, Zhu Lingling glanced at her son worriedly. Goodbye, Mom. Gao Bui Yuan didn't even raise his head. He waved his hand perfunctorily, which made everyone laugh. Zhu Lingling, the couple proved an old saying in China, fight at the head of the bed, make up at the foot of the bed. After they leave, Qin Chu and Huamian go back to their bedroom. The kids play downstairs. Are you tired? I'll get you some water to soak your feet. 2. Then, Qin Chu helped Huamin to sit on the bed. She was already very heavy. He only felt that there was a weight of a few dozen kilograms on his stomach, and it felt like he was about to fall. Qin Chu carefully took off Huamin's pure white cotton socks. Then, he reached out and flicked the back of her foot gently. Why is it swollen? Does it hurt? It's like this in the 3rd trimester. It's not a big problem. It doesn't hurt. It was the same when I was pregnant with Pudding and Little Bean. Huamin said it unintentionally, but he regretted it as soon as he said it. Because she had just realized that during that period of time, Qin Chu had not been able to participate in it. I'm sorry, honey, why are you apologizing, idiot? I know what you're thinking. Don't worry, I don't blame myself anymore because I'm slowly making up for the time I've missed. After that, Qin Chu carefully put the socks aside and went to the bathroom to get hot water. Suddenly, a WeChat notification came from his phone. Huamin picked up his phone and looked at it. Chapter 39-32. Sister Mian, can we have dinner together tomorrow night? It was from Wei Ying. Wei Ying and Huamin weren't close, so Huamin was surprised when she asked to have dinner together. What's up? Sister Mian, Mingxi and I got remarried. Congratulations. Huamin had heard Jiang Xiaowei mention it but didn't ask for details. So I want to invite you all to dinner together tomorrow night. Oh, that's a good thing. Okay, send me the address and time of the restaurant. I sincerely invite you and President Qin to come, Wei Ying added. Okay, we'll be there. The next evening, at Wei Ying's invitation, they went to a private hotel owned by the Shen family. The hotel was in a remote area in the suburbs, but the decor was very classy. Shen Mingxi probably wanted to avoid the reporters. After all, His relationship with Wei Ying had been a hot topic for a long time. In the private room, almost everyone was there. Qin Chu, Hua Min, Su Yu, and Tang Chuan brought Qin Ning. Gao Ren wasn't familiar with Shen Mingxi, so he and Lingling didn't come. Wei Liao and his family, on the other hand, didn't come. How about I give Master Wei a call? Tang Chuan said. It's okay, my second brother might not come. Wei Ying felt a little guilty. Wei Liao was the one who was most against her remarrying Qin Chu. While they were talking, the door of the private room was pushed open and Jiang Xiaowei walked in alone. Sis-in-law, where's my second brother? Wei Ying hurried over to take Jiang Xiaowei's bag. Oh. He had something to do and went back to the company. He asked us to eat first and not wait for him. Jiang Xiaowei's words were tactful, but everyone knew it was just an excuse. Wei Liao didn't want to come. Shen Mingxi was a bit embarrassed. He glanced at Jiang Xiaowei behind Wei Ying. Sister Xiaowei, please sit down. Don't call me Sister Xiaowei. You're remarried. You can call me sis-in-law like Ying. Dr. Jiang had always been gracious. Everyone gathered together, and the atmosphere was actually quite good. Shen Mingxi rarely ate with this group of people. Hua Min and Qin Chu came early and didn't waste a moment. During the banquet, everyone drank quite happily. The more they drank, the more they talked. Even Su Yu, who had always been a man, became a little talkative. He wrapped his arms around Shen Mingxi's neck and said drunkenly, "Bro, let me tell you. It's not easy to find someone you like in your life. So, cherish her. You two have known each other for almost half your life. You've been playing together since you were kids. This is fate. This time, you've regained what you lost. You have to make good use of this opportunity." "I will, Lord Su." Shen Mingxi listened attentively. "Old Shen, don't listen to Lord Su. He's so drunk that he won't remember what he said tomorrow." Tang Chuan's words made everyone laugh. "Bullshit. I'm very sober," Su quibbled. "Lord Su, we're all settled. You're the only one who's been single for 10,000 years. How dare you talk to us about the law of love?" Only Tang Chuan dared to tease Su Yu directly. He had no scruples. "I'm almost there too. It sounds like you're taken." Tang Chuan jeered. And felt that his boss was a bit off today. He looked happy, but in fact, he wasn't that happy. Chapter 39-33. Yes. It's not easy to find women. I have plenty of them in Imperial Star. Su Yu was indeed a little drunk, so they didn't know if he was serious or joking. Anyway, it was a happy meal. On the way back, and drove while Su Yu lay in the passenger seat with his eyes closed and didn't speak. But An knew his boss wasn't asleep. When they got home, Su Yu took off his jacket and lay down on the sofa. "President Su, do you want me to pour you a cup of warm water?" Su Yu waved his hand. "I know you're not drunk," and added. "Yeah. You know me well. Of course. I've been with you for many years." And grinned. "Otherwise, we can live together." "Pooh. No. I don't like men," and refused without hesitation. With a smile, Su Yu stood up and leaned against the armrest of the sofa. He looked at An. "What are you thinking?" "I'm talking about living together." "You look like a bear. Do you think I won't do it?" "And our boss is a professional hater." Lying on the sofa, Su Yu didn't feel sleepy. He took out his cell phone and browsed through the news, Weibo, and WeChat moments. In his WeChat moments, Pudding and Little Bean posted new statuses. The two of them bought a new dress today. It was a beautiful golden gown, very beautiful. Little Bean didn't know how to take selfies, so her face was a little big but chubby and cute. Pudding had a high EQ and was good at finding angles. With the help of beauty apps, she was a super beauty. Suyu liked their posts but didn't say anything. It was 11:30 p.m. Suddenly, Han Yueyao also posted a status. It said, "Actually, not all girls like money. Some kind-hearted girls also like animals. For example, I've liked Land Rovers, BMWs, Jaguars, Hummers, Bugatti Veyron, and Lynx since I was a child, right?" After Suyu finished reading, he laughed. Although he felt that it was a little old-fashioned, it was still very enjoyable to read in the middle of the night. Therefore, Suyu had a sudden impulse and left a comment below her: "If you win the championship in Dance of Allure, I will send you more than one small animal." Reading the comments, Han Yueyao was thrilled and replied immediately, "President Su, are you serious?" "Suyu, of course, when did I say that I don't mean it?" Han Yueyao, okay. I'll take the Bugatti Veyron." "Suyu, you have a unique taste." Han Yueyao, no. It's because the Bugatti Veyron is the most expensive." "Suyu, alright, you win." Han Yueyao, "If I win, will you really buy it for me?" Han Yueyao asked again worriedly. "Suyu, of course, but if you get eliminated this week, you'll have to work for me for free for a year without any pay." Damn it. You're indeed a capitalist, see? Do you think I'll let you take the car for free? Go, you little money grubber. Good luck. Suyu's tone was light, he didn't seem to take Anne's words to heart. "President Su, are you hungry? I'll treat you to a midnight snack." Excited, Han Yueyao couldn't fall asleep. In fact, she wasn't hungry, but she wanted to see Suyu. "If you invite me to Ocean Emperor, I'll go," Suyu replied. "President Su, you're heartless. You're a big boss, but I'm just a small employee. How can you treat me like that? Even if you sell me, I'm not worth the price of a meal at Ocean Emperor." "Good. Go to bed. Don't talk nonsense." Suyu didn't want to say more. After replying, he tossed his cell phone aside and sighed softly. "President Su, do you have something on your mind?" And knew something was wrong with his boss and had been holding it in since he came back. "And what do you think I should buy for Dr. Hua's wedding?" Suyu finally asked in a low and lonely voice. "Ha! Dr. Hua is holding a wedding." And was surprised because he hadn't heard anything about it. Chapter 39-34. Oh. Anne's reaction was so big, but Suyu only said, "Oh." However, based on Suyu's temper, the calmer he appeared on the surface, the more turbulent his heart was. And was no longer in the mood to boil water or make tea. He walked over and asked, "President Su, who said this? Did President Hua tell you?" "No, Mian wouldn't provoke me so directly. I accidentally heard Tang Chuan's wife say it. Miss Qi Ning said it." "Then, it's most likely true." Suyu smiled and didn't say anything. "Has the date been set?" "It can't be soon, right? President Hua is so pregnant, she won't look good in a wedding dress," and mumbled. "She said that she'll hold it after giving birth to the boy." "Oh, that's soon." President Hua seems to be in labor soon, and didn't know much about women, but seeing that Hua Min had been pregnant for so long, he thought that it was almost time. "Boss, look on the bright side. President Hua will get married sooner or later, and she's about to give birth to her second child. I've thought it through. I'm happy. I'm happy for her." When Suyu said this, bitterness flashed through his heart. He didn't know why he was being so pretentious. That day, when he had dinner with Tang Chuan and the others, he heard Qin Ning say that Mian had been looking for wedding dresses recently. Su felt a little uncomfortable. It wasn't that he was unhappy, but it wasn't that he was happy. He was the only one who knew the extent of his dilemma. In fact, he had known for a long time that Qin Ning and Hua Xiqin hadn't held a wedding. The previous one had been delayed because of Hua Xiqin's strange scheme. Now that the third child was about to be born, with how much Qin Chu loved Hua Min, it was impossible for him not to hold a wedding for her. However, for some reason, whenever Siyu thought of Hua Min wearing a wedding dress and marrying someone else, he would feel sad. As long as he imagined this scene, he would feel indescribably sad. He knew that all of this stemmed from the fact that he still loved her deeply. It had never changed all these years. Everyone thought that Suyu had almost forgotten about Hua Min. But only he knew that in his heart, this heavy love would only grow deeper with the passage of time. But it wouldn't fade away, and looked at his boss's miserable expression and felt very uncomfortable in his heart. President Su, why don't we find an excuse to sneak out at President Hua's wedding? Didn't you say that you wanted to see the aurora? Can I go with you? It's okay, Su's, it's, and Hua, Mian. Su Yut smiled bitterly. He didn't dare to say these words to Tang Chuan and the others. After all, it was immoral to think about a married woman all these years. Therefore, Siyu could only talk to him for a while, which made him feel better. Boss, I feel bad for you too, and wasn't a scholar. He only knew that Suyu had been very good to him over the past few years, like family. Therefore, he felt bad when he saw Suyu feel bad. I'm fine. I was just thinking about what I should give Mian for her wedding. Suyu's voice became softer and softer as the alcohol took over. He slowly closed his eyes and fell asleep. And picked up the blanket and covered Suyu with it. If it was in the past, he might not be able to understand Suyu's feelings. However, after he fell in love with Lu Yen, he gradually understood the pain of not being able to get what he wanted. To him, Lu Yan was an unreachable goddess. Then, to Suyu, Hua Min was also a bright moon that he couldn't get. At this moment, in a seaside town on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. Psycho Chow, what do you think I should give my sister for her wedding? Chapter 39-35. I think it's best if you give her a wedding, Chow Fei said slowly. What do you mean? I mean Sister Mian's wedding, and we'll have a wedding at the same time. Ha ha ha. Then my wedding will be blown up. After all, I have so many enemies. Lu Yan took it as a joke, so she laughed heartily. Besides, what she said was true. Lu Yan was always hunted down and was afraid that her whereabouts would be exposed. If they had a high-profile wedding, the wedding would be hell on earth. That was unimaginable. Lu Yan had never thought that she would have a wedding. So when Chow Fei said this, she laughed and took it as an impossible joke. But Chow Fei's heart ached slightly when he heard this. The woman he loved deeply, yet he couldn't complete a simple wedding for her. Then what right did he have to say he loved her? Chow Fei put down the Russian book in his hand and walked to Lu Yan. Then he reached out and hugged her gently from behind. Xiao Yan, I'll definitely give you a wedding. A wedding that'll be fair and square. Lu Yan was slightly surprised at first, but then she smiled warmly. Okay. I'll wait. I'll live until that day comes. Inside the Shen family's mansion, Tian left 3 days ago. Shen Mingxi asked a teacher to pick her up and bring her a lot of clothes. Jing City wasn't far. Compared to other countries, it wasn't far. Shen Mingxi was a bit sad, but Tian Tian didn't cry. She was quite happy. She took her favorite dolls and clothes with her. Shen Mingxi paid for 1 year's expensive tuition and living expenses. He also gave Tiantian's life teacher a credit card. Of course, the teacher didn't dare to spend too much. After all, there was a record of credit card transactions. After Shen Mingxi and Wei Ying got their marriage certificate, they treated everyone to a low-key meal. Although Wei Liao didn't show up, he did a good job. At least, he sent Jiang Xiaowei. In the study, Shen Mingxi was organizing the company's files. Wearing gold-rimmed glasses, Wei Ying was with him while drawing designs on her notebook. After Tian Tian left, the last thing between them seemed to be gone. After being together again, they cherished each other. Ying, are you tired? Shen Mingxi looked at her. Wei Ying shook her head. Shall I get you a cup of coffee? I want to drink it. I'll make it myself. You go do your thing. Shen Mingxi nodded. Suddenly, he thought of something and said, tomorrow is the 3rd day of the year, right? According to the rules, I should visit your house. It's okay. You do what you need to do. I'll go back and take a look myself. My parents have already calmed down. Don't. We can't break the rules set by our ancestors. I'll accompany you. I'll also get someone to prepare the returning gifts and bring them over. All right. Wei Ying was happy that Shen Mingxi wasn't as cold as he used to be. He seemed to be considerate of others in everything he did. The two of them worked until late at night, and it was finally time to sleep. In fact, ever since the two of them remarried, they had never slept together. To be more precise, Wei Ying and Shen Mingxi hadn't been intimate for years after their divorce. The last time the media caught them at the hotel, it was because Wei Ying was drugged and Shen Mingxi gave her a cold bath. Later, when Wei Ying moved into the Shen family's house, she slept in the master bedroom while Shen Mingxi slept in the guest bedroom. They hadn't done anything intimate until now. Finally, all the knots in their hearts were gone. Ying, take a shower and go to bed. What about you? Wei Ying looked at him. How about? I still sleep in the guest bedroom. Shen Mingxi asked shyly. Chapter 39-36. So, you're going to sleep in the guest bedroom for the rest of your life? Wei Ying looked at him, amused. Fine. Since you're so virtuous, you can sleep in the guest bedroom. I'm going to lock the door. Wei Ying pushed open the door to the master bedroom and was about to lock the door. Shen Mingxi squeezed his way in. What are you doing? Wei Ying looked up. I want to sleep here, Shen Mingxi said earnestly. Wei Ying blushed slightly. Don't you like sleeping in the guest bedroom? No. I've always wanted to sleep in this room, but I'm afraid you'll kick me out. Silly. Wei Ying was both amused and exasperated. Caught off guard, Shen Mingxi pushed her down onto the thick carpet. Whoa. What are you doing? Doing my homework. It seemed that Shen Mingxi had been holding back for a long time now that he had spoken so bluntly. I haven't showered yet. Wait for me to shower. Wei Ying found it too sudden. You'll shower later, his words were as gentle as water. Wei Ying fell into his spell and couldn't wake up. She fell into depravity with Shen Mingxi until she leaped to the peak of happiness. At South Hill Manor after breakfast, Huamin and Qin Chu went out and got into the car together. Aside from prenatal checkups, shopping, and dates, Huamin went to the company with Qin Chu most of the time. They worked diligently together. It's only a dozen meters away from the car. Daddy has to hold Mommy's hand. Humph. Little Bean was jealous. If you dare, go and tell Daddy to ignore Mommy, Pudding provoked her. Of course. Why don't you go and tell him? If I do, I'll be left out. You know Mommy is more important to Daddy than the two of us combined. No. You're wrong. The two of us plus the baby in Mommy's belly are more important to him than Mommy, Pudding corrected her. So, I don't dare to tell him. Then don't talk about it behind his back. That's so cruel. No, I'll tell Buyuan. Little Bean picked up her phone and started a video call with Gao Buyuan. Pudding sat on the sofa and watched the news seriously. One good thing about Pudding was that she never fought with her family to watch TV. She looked at whatever everyone was looking at. Her grandfather looked at the lecture room of the 100 schools, so she followed suit. Her grandmother watched the 8:00 mother-in-law and daughter-in-law drama, and she watched it too. She was interested in the financial news when her daddy came back. When Mommy came back, she watched the medical lecture and followed along. Of course, even when Little Bean was bored and went to watch Peppa Pig and Peter Pan, she would still watch them. Therefore, Pudding's family always had a good impression of her and said that she was a tolerant child. Since there were no classes in the morning, the twins decided to play at home. Holding the phone, Little Bean went to harass Gao Buyuan. Chapter 39-37. Where did you buy this? The things that are appraised are all treasures that have fallen into the hands of the common people. After they are appraised as genuine, some will be sold at the auction house, while others will be kept waiting for buyers. I know a friend in this field and just called him. He said that he still has it and will probably send it to us at noon. Chin Chu's father, perhaps he thought that his granddaughter was still young, so he didn't take it seriously. Now, after watching a show and casually saying that he liked it, this girl bought it. Moreover, she only made one call and said that she had a friend in this field. What kind of world was Chin Chu's father living in? Am I really that old? Pudding, how much did you spend on it? Old Master Chin knew that this wooden carving wasn't cheap. Especially the completed wooden carving that he had just seen. It's not expensive, Pudding said casually. How much is it not expensive? The appraisal shop quoted 17 million. My friend said that if I want it, it'll be 15 million. 15 million. Chin Chu's father was really excited. Although he had been an entrepreneur his whole life and was a tycoon, he had retired from his life. It had been a long time since he had dealt with large amounts of money. Many of the expensive things at home were bought by Chin Chu and Huamin. Last month, he went to the antique market with his old friend and saw a string of beads that cost 600,000 yuan. He couldn't bear to sell it. Now, his granddaughter had bought a wooden carving worth 15 million in less than a minute. This was really exciting. Pudding, this is too expensive. No, quickly call them and return it. Old Master Chin didn't want his granddaughter to buy it. Grandpa, it's rare for you to like something. Just take it. Not to mention 15 million, even if it's 150 million, as long as you're happy, I'm willing to pay. Pudding's words brought tears to the old man's eyes. I'm really satisfied to have such an obedient and filial granddaughter like you in my life, Grandpa. This is all my money. I earned it by trading stocks. It's not my father's, nor is it our company's. I'm giving it to you with my own money. Don't feel bad. You child, your own money is money too. It doesn't grow on trees. As long as you're happy, it's worth it. I won't return it. Send it over at noon. I'll drink tea with Grandpa. Okay. I'll soak the bilyuakun that your father brought back for me a while ago. Yes. The sound of the grandfather and grandson's laughter could be heard from upstairs. Mrs. Chin deliberately scared Little Bean. Look at your sister. She's so good at pleasing Grandpa. I'm just afraid that we won't dote on her when your brother comes out. All you do is video chat with Boy Yuen all day long. You don't know how to spend time with Grandpa and Grandma. Aren't you afraid that you'll fall out of favor? Fall out of favor? That's impossible. Little Bean smiled. How can it not exist? Grandma teased her deliberately. Just based on the fact that my father's blood flows in my body, the blood of our Chin family, all of you must love me. Little Bean's words made Grandma laugh heartily. Her words were crude, but the truth was not crude. Grandma deliberately went downstairs to tell Grandpa on putting these words. Grandpa also laughed and said, "My Little Bean is very smart." Who said she doesn't have enough EQ? Really? Her EQ is very high. It's just lower than mine. Don't misunderstand. Pudding laughed. GK headquarters, Huamin fell asleep on the sofa in the office. After Chin Chu tucked him in, he went through documents until noon. Huamin slept for about an hour. When he woke up, he said that he was hungry. Honey, let's go to the cafeteria for lunch. I'm so hungry. Let's not go to the cafeteria today. I'll take you to a good place. Chin Chu smiled mysteriously and reached out to pull Huamin up. Chapter 39-38. Huamin knew that every time her husband smiled mysteriously, it meant that something good was about to happen. Mr. Chin would only show this kind of expression when he was planning a surprise for her. After a while, Huamin understood her husband's routine. She didn't ask any questions and let Mr. Chin hold her hand the whole way. They drove to the top floor of GK's first high school restaurant downtown. President Chin, Mrs. Chin. The restaurant manager led them through the long hallway. Are they here? Chin Chu asked casually. They're here, they're waiting for you inside. The manager smiled. Okay. Chin Chu nodded and led Huamin to the door. Do you know who's inside? Chin Chu asked Huamin. Huamin shook his head, then opened the door and see. Huamin gently pushed open the door and was excited to see the two people sitting inside. Rick, Cece. Huamin ignored her heavy body and quickly walked to the table. Cece immediately stood up and the two heavy pregnant women hugged each other. Chin Chu smiled and sat down beside Rick. How was it? Was the long flight tiring? Chin Chu asked him. It was okay. Rick was probably the only man in the world who spoke less than Chin Chu. He never talked nonsense and always went straight to the point. Cece, you're about to give birth, right? Rick looked at Cece's belly, which was about the same size as his. Yeah, it's about the same as your due date. Wow, that's great. It's so inconvenient for you to come back at this time. You're pregnant and you're on a long flight. What are you going to do when you get back? Huamin was an authoritative gynecologist, so he knew a lot of general knowledge. Pregnant women should try to avoid flying when they were about to give birth. After all, it was bumpy at high altitude. If something happened, there were no rescue measures on the plane. Therefore, it was not advisable for pregnant women to fly back and forth. Especially since Cece and the others had flown back from the United States. It was a long flight that took more than 10 hours. This time, I'm not going back. I plan to give birth to the child in China. Ah. Huamin was shocked. She had not expected this at all. Huamin looked at Rick on the other side, as if seeking confirmation. The medical standards in the country are very advanced now. When I'm overseas, I often go out. I'm worried about leaving her alone. It's better to have more friends here. That's great. Huamian grabbed Cece's hand, genuinely happy from the bottom of her heart. Have you thought about how to give birth? Huamin asked Cece. I want to give birth naturally because I'm still young and exercise a lot. I even do yoga for pregnant women, so I want to try giving birth naturally. Huamin patted his chest and laughed. Ah, age, how hurtful. I almost forgot that I'm an older woman. Sister Mian, are you going to do a C-section? I haven't thought about it yet. I'll see. Huamin had indeed been thinking about this problem. During dinner, Cece and Huamin went to the washroom. Only Chin Chu and Rick were left in the private room. Chin Chu played with Rick's lighter in his hand. Then he asked in a low voice, has the situation been tense over there recently? Chin Chu was not as gullible as women. He knew that something must have happened over there since Rick suddenly sent his wife and child back. Yeah, it's very tense. Do you need my help? Not yet. I'll let you know when I need it. How long do you plan to stay? Chin Chu tilted his head and looked at him. 2 or 3 days. Then I'll go to Colombia to check on the goods. Colombia is very chaotic. Don't you have enemies there? Yes. So I want you to pass on a message to Lu Yen. Is she willing to help me deliver the goods? You want to ask Yen for help? Chin Chu was surprised. With Rick's personality, he rarely asked for help. Even Chin Chu himself rarely asked for help. But this time, he asked for help from Lu Yen. Did the sun rise from the west? Chapter 39-39. Rick nodded. Looks like you're really in trouble. Otherwise, you wouldn't have asked Lu Yen for help, Chin Chu guessed. Yes, I did run into a problem. The Colombian drug lords have hired a man named Caslias. He's the leader of a terrorist organization and his methods are cruel. Killing people is as simple as eating and drinking. He's already killed a lot of my people. So far, I haven't found anyone who can suppress him. Of course, if it wasn't for Cece's pregnancy, I would have fought him myself. But now, it seems like I'm still worried. So, you want Lu Yen to deal with Casillas? Chin Chu said for him. Apparently, the person Casillas fears the most is Lu Yen. He's been defeated twice by Lu Yen. Once, Lu Yen pierced his lung and almost killed him. So, it's a defeated opponent. Then, Yen probably isn't interested. She'd rather challenge someone who's difficult. Chin Chu smiled. I won't let Lu Yen do this for free. I know I have to pay her. If you know the rules, why don't you just ask Yen? Chin Chu said on purpose. I'm not looking for you because of Lu Yen. Can you give me a fair price? Rick looked like a wronged wife. Chin Chu almost laughed out loud. So, you asked me to help you bargain. The two men were talking in the private room. The two women were in the washroom at the end of the corridor, and they were talking about something private. Sister Mian, other than waiting for the delivery, I also want to attend your wedding with President Qin. Huamin smiled happily. Sister Mian, how are the wedding preparations going? We just started. After all, I can't wear a wedding dress in my current state. We'll decide on the date after the baby is born. But if you stay in China, I'm sure you'll be able to make it. Okay. Cece washed her hands and wiped them with a piece of tissue. Cece, yeah. How's your sister? Huamin remembered Nie Lingxian. The last time he saw her was on the cruise. Cece's eyes dimmed at the mention of her sister. Ever since my sister came back to China and found out that she was hypnotized and almost hurt Lord Su, she has been very dispirited. You know, she has always loved Lord Su very much. How could she bear to hurt him? You can't blame her for that. The bad guys took advantage of the situation, Huamin comforted. Yes, I told her that too, but she couldn't figure it out. She kept thinking that it was her fault. When she went back, she didn't go to the college to further her studies. I asked her to stay in New Orleans with me, but she wasn't in the mood. Later, her manager said that she would bring her out for a trip. She's in California now, but she's still not in good condition. Give her some time. She'll get better. Huamin liked Nia Lingxian and thought she was gentle and kind. Of course, Siyu wasn't a good match for her. After all, she was too soft and couldn't suppress Suyu. With Suyu's hot temper, she had to fight fire with fire. He was fierce, so she had to be fiercer than him. Okay, I also believe that my sister will get better. Oh, right, how's Lord Su? Does he have a girlfriend? No. I really don't know if my sister will have a chance in the future. Cece smiled helplessly, although she knew the chances were slim. Suyu will get married sooner or later. He will never be alone. Huamin's words were like a prophecy or a promise for Suyu. Sister Mian, in his heart, he's always loved you, right? Cece's voice was very low and soft. After all, this topic was a bit heavy for Huamin. Chapter 39-40. Before Huamin could answer, someone knocked on the bathroom door. Mrs. Hua, are you still in there? It was the bodyguard from South Hill Manor. Yes, Huamin immediately answered. Mr. Hua was worried about you and Miss Cece, so he asked me to check on you. We're fine, we'll go back now. They didn't dare to waste any more time. These two pregnant women were the apple of the man's eye. Huamin pulled Cece out of the bathroom and went back to the private room. The four of them chatted and ate for about 2 hours before leaving. Rick sent Cece back to her parents' home with several bodyguards protecting her. Her situation was similar to Huamin's. Huamian and Qin Chu, on the other hand, returned to GK. In the afternoon, Jixin suddenly rushed into the office. Sis, brother-in-law, what's wrong? Why are you running around? Huamin put down the book in his hand and looked at Jixin, who was in a panic. Sis, brother-in-law, Mom just called and said, take your time, take your time. Qin Chu closed the laptop in front of him and looked at Jixin calmly. I ran so much. Ha. I'll take my time, aha. Mom just called and asked us to go back as soon as possible. There's an emergency at home. Why didn't she call me? Huamin was surprised. She said your phone was off. Huamin picked up his phone and looked at it. Indeed, his phone had run out of battery and he didn't have time to charge it. Did Mom say anything? What's so urgent? Huamian already had a rough idea of what was going on. Mom said it's great news. Anyways, let's go back. Bella is waiting for us downstairs to get the car from the garage. Okay, you can go now. We'll be there in a minute. Qin Chu nodded. Then, Jixin ran downstairs like crazy. It was obvious that he was very excited. After Jixin left, Qin Chu and Huamin looked at each other. There was a tacit understanding in their eyes. Hubby, he's here, isn't he? Qin Chu had already guessed. Yeah, what's coming will come. I knew it. Huamin took in a deep breath. Don't be afraid, I'll face it with you. Chin Chu knew that Huamin was very nervous and concerned about this matter. Jixin and Bella drove off first, and Chin Chu and Huamin arrived shortly after. Sky blessing Court. As soon as Huamin entered the door, he was attracted by a figure. That person, she was sitting on the sofa, and although her gaze was a little sluggish, but her face, her looks, her figure, and even her clothes, that was Uncle Jing himself. Huamin had lived with her for more than 10 years, so he was very familiar with this. Although Huamin knew it might be strange, the moment he saw Jingde, he was shocked. Her eyes were still wet with tears. "Uncle Jing," she said in a low voice. Chin Chu didn't have a deep impression of Jingde because back then, they were still in school and had only met a few times, so they didn't have deep feelings for each other. "Dad," Jixin's reaction was huge. He rushed over and knelt before the man, tears streaming down his face. Bella was a little flustered and didn't know what to do. After all, when she and Jixin started dating, Jingde had been dead for more than 10 years. Young Meirong stood beside Jingde, tears streaming down her face. Jingde didn't speak, but he reached out and touched Jixin's head. "Dad, I'm not dreaming, right? Are you really back? Are you really back?" Jixin grabbed his father's hand tightly, feeling very emotional. Chin Chu hadn't spoken since he came in. He quietly put his hand on Huamin's shoulder and hugged him tightly. "You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure."